What if Naruto awakened the power of Zhongli, the god of contracts? Every promise he makes becomes unbreakable. Every debt carries a price, and entire nations begin depending on his power. But when Naruto realizes that perfect contracts can become prisons, he must choose between controlling the world or trusting people enough to let them break their word.
Chapter 1. The price of a name. The shopkeeper charged Naruto Uzumaki 3 times the marked price. It was not unusual. Most merchants in Konoha did it quietly. They removed the wooden price tags before he entered, changed the numbers while pretending to check their ledgers, or claimed that the cheaper stock had already been reserved. Some simply refused to serve him. This man had chosen a different method. He smiled. 200 ryo, he said, placing a small cloth bag on the counter. Inside were 2 cups of rice, a handful of dried beans, and 3 shriveled carrots, barely enough food to last a child through the week. Naruto stood on the other side of the counter, too short for his chin to rise above it. The sleeves of his orange jacket covered half his hands. His blonde hair was dirty from sleeping without washing, and his stomach had been aching since morning. Outside, lanterns hung across the village streets. Red, green, gold. Children ran between stalls carrying candied fruit and paper masks. Musicians played near the central plaza, and every few minutes a cheer rose from the crowds gathered beneath the Hokage monument. It was Konoha's harvest festival. Naruto had been told not to attend. No one had officially forbidden him. There was no written order, no guard posted outside his apartment, no law bearing his name. There did not need to be. The villagers' eyes had delivered the message clearly enough: stay away. The 6-year-old boy stared at the cloth bag, then he looked at the shopkeeper. Something was wrong with his gaze. The man noticed it immediately. He had expected anger. Perhaps shouting. The brat usually shouted when cornered. He might complain about the price or threaten to tell the Hokage. After that, the shopkeeper could throw him outside and earn approving looks from the people passing by. Instead, Naruto looked at him as though he were an object placed upon a scale, not hated, not feared, measured. 200 ryo, Naruto repeated. His voice was softer than usual. The shopkeeper's smile faltered. That's right. The rice came from a merchant caravan that arrived through the eastern gate 6 days ago. The shopkeeper blinked. Naruto continued, You purchased 12 sacks. 9 are stacked in the rear room, 2 are beneath the floorboards in case the village increases grain taxes, and the last has been divided for sale. The man's fingers tightened against the counter. Naruto's eyes moved to the dried beans. These are older, last season's harvest. Moisture entered the storage jar, so you dried them again before putting them on display. They are edible, but they will spoil within 10 days. Who told you that? No one. The answer came without pride. Naruto looked at the carrots. The farmer who supplied these accepted half payment because you promised to pay the remainder after the festival. You will not be able to. The lantern light seemed to dim. The shopkeeper's face hardened. You owe 11,000 ryo to the brewer beside the western wall, Naruto said. Another 7,000 to the merchant who supplies your lamp oil. Your landlord has given you until the end of the month. The man went pale. Naruto could see it all, not because of chakra, not because of any technique taught at the academy. He could see the slight depression in the wood where the shopkeeper rested his ledger every night, the uneven wear on his sandals, indicating repeated walks toward the poorer western district. The faint scent of medicinal herbs clinging to his sleeves. The cheap ink stains on 2 fingers. The tremor in his right hand whenever Naruto mentioned money. Numbers connected themselves inside the boy's mind. Cost, weight, supply, debt, promise. For 6,000 years, he had watched civilizations rise upon such things. Ports became cities because 2 strangers agreed upon the value of salt. Armies marched because a ruler promised land to soldiers not yet born. Families survived winter because one farmer trusted that another would repay grain after spring. Every nation called its foundations by different names: law, honor, duty, faith. But beneath all of them was the same simple act. An agreement made and the hope that it would be kept. The shopkeeper stepped back. Naruto's reflection appeared faintly in a polished metal tray hanging on the wall. A small boy, blue eyes, whisker-like marks on his cheeks, yet behind those eyes stretched mountains that did not exist in this world. He remembered standing above an ancient harbor while thousands gathered below. He remembered stone spears larger than Konoha's Hokage monument falling from a golden sky. He remembered wars fought against gods whose names had been ground into dust. He remembered contracts written in blood, jade, silk, stone, and the last breaths of dying kings. He remembered being called many things: warrior god, lord of Geo, prime of the Adepti, Rex Lapis Morax, Zhongli. The memories had arrived that morning, not gradually, not as dreams. They had fallen into Naruto's mind with the weight of a continent. He had awakened on the floor beside his bed, unable to breathe, while 6,000 years of victories, funerals, bargains, betrayals, and goodbyes forced themselves into a brain barely old enough to read. For nearly an hour he had remained there, a starving child with the memory of a god. Eventually he had stood. Hunger was a remarkably effective cure for existential confusion. Now he faced a frightened merchant beneath festival lanterns. The shopkeeper attempted to recover his anger. "You've been spying on me." "No, you broke into my storeroom." "No, then how could you know any of that?" Naruto looked toward the curtain covering the doorway behind the counter. A cough came from the room beyond it, weak, wet, painfully restrained. The shopkeeper's expression changed. Naruto studied the medicinal scent again: violet leaf, ground willow bark, crushed feverfew, cheap remedies for pain and fever, but not for the sickness Naruto could hear in the woman's lungs. "Your wife is dying," he said. The man moved so quickly that the counter shook. "Do not speak about her." His hand rose. Naruto did not flinch for a heartbeat. Something ancient stirred beneath the floor. The stone foundation answered his anger, not with words, with readiness. The building became a collection of lines and faults in his awareness. Every brick declared its weight. Every nail announced the burden it carried. He knew precisely which section of the wall could be shifted to collapse the roof without crushing the sick woman in the rear room. Then the feeling vanished. Naruto stared at the shopkeeper's raised hand. The man slowly lowered it. "I apologize." Naruto said. The words were formal and strangely heavy from a child's mouth. "I spoke of a private grief without permission." The shopkeeper said nothing. "The price of these goods is 68 ryo," Naruto continued. 72 if you include a reasonable festival increase. I will pay 80. You think you can decide my prices? No, you may refuse." Naruto reached into his pocket. He had 23 ryo. He knew this because he had counted it 12 times before leaving his apartment. 3 small coins landed on the counter. The shopkeeper stared at them. "That isn't 80. "I am aware." Naruto opened his left hand. Nothing rested in his palm, yet somewhere beyond flesh and bone he felt for a power that should have been as natural as breathing: Geo, the authority of the earth. It had once answered him across oceans. He had raised islands, shaped mountains, and buried enemies beneath stone forests. Now he found only silence. Naruto closed his eyes. Deep within himself stood an empty hall. Shelves stretched into darkness, each waiting for a tablet that did not exist. Chains hung without weight. Scales rested without coin. At the center of it all lay an enormous book whose pages were blank. The ledger, empty, no contracts, no guarantees, no accumulated faith, no nation that knew his name. And above it, where the divine focus of his authority should have burned like a second sun, there was nothing. The gnosis was gone. Whatever force had carried his memories into this world had not brought the throne that once supported them. Naruto had inherited 6,000 years of knowledge, and only a fragment of the power that had made that knowledge law. Still, not all was lost. A spark remained. He reached for it. Pain tore through his chest. The child's knees nearly buckled. The floor groaned. Dust rose between the boards and flowed upward in a thin spiral. Tiny grains of stone gathered above his open palm, compressing, turning, grinding against one another. The shopkeeper stepped away. "What are you doing?" Naruto could not answer, his heart hammered too quickly. The dust became a rough pebble. The pebble flattened, lines appeared across its surface, each one carving itself with a golden light that only lasted for an instant. A coin dropped into Naruto's palm. It was the width of his thumbnail, gray stone, edged in dull gold. One side bore a square symbol crossed by 4 lines. The other carried an image of a mountain beneath a balanced scale. It was imperfect, crude, pathetic compared to the mora he remembered minting by the millions. It was also the hardest thing Naruto had ever done. His legs gave out. He caught the counter before striking the ground, but the movement sent a hot spasm through his ribs. The shopkeeper stared at him, caught between suspicion and alarm. Blood ran from Naruto's nose. The stone coin rested on the wood. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then the shopkeeper reached toward it. "Do not touch it yet," Naruto warned. The man froze. Naruto forced air into his lungs. "That coin is a personal guarantee." "A what?" "It carries value because I guarantee its value." "You're 6. "Yes, you have no money." "Also correct." The shopkeeper looked at the coin as if expecting it to explode. Naruto wiped the blood from his mouth. In its present form, the stone contains approximately 30 ryo worth of refined mineral. A jeweler could separate the gold edging and sell the remainder to a sculptor. However, that would destroy the seal. "What seal?" "The guarantee." The shopkeeper's fear slowly gave way to a merchant's curiosity. "What exactly are you guaranteeing?" "That before the end of this month, I will provide goods, labor, or currency equal to 57 ryo to whoever returns this coin to me." The man stared. Naruto's 3 ordinary coins added to 23. The stone coin guaranteed 57, 80 in total. "You expect me to trust that?" "No." Naruto straightened, though the room continued to spin. "I expect you to evaluate it." The shopkeeper picked up the stone coin. The instant his skin touched it, the lines around the edge glimmered. A sensation passed through the room, not chakra, something firmer. The man felt, without understanding how, that the promise was real. He did not know whether Naruto possessed the money. He did not know what would happen if the child failed. But he knew that the boy intended to pay, more than intended. The promise had weight. The shopkeeper looked at the blood beneath Naruto's nose. "You made this?" "Yes." "For a bag of rice, for the correct price." Outside, drums thundered through the street. A crowd began chanting the name of the 4th Hokage. Naruto heard it clearly: Minato, Minato, Minato. The name struck something raw inside him, not because he understood why. Some of Naruto's memories were still his own. Others belonged to the dead god inside him. Between them lay locked rooms he could feel but not yet enter. He knew the 4th Hokage had saved the village from the 9-tailed fox. He knew the fox was sealed inside him. He knew the villagers hated him for it. But the adults always stopped speaking when Naruto asked how the sealing had happened. The 3rd Hokage told him it was dangerous information. His academy instructors told him to respect the sacrifice of the dead. The shopkeepers told him to leave. Everyone possessed a piece of the truth. Everyone except him. Naruto lifted the bag of food. The shopkeeper did not stop him. At the doorway, Naruto paused. "Your wife needs a proper physician." The man's expression closed again. "I know. You cannot afford one because your creditors collect separately. Each demands payment without considering that their demands prevent you from paying the others." "You think I don't know that?" "I think the brewer would extend your deadline if the lamp merchant did the same. The lamp merchant would agree if your landlord guaranteed the lease. Your landlord would cooperate if he received part ownership of the shop until the debts were cleared." The shopkeeper stared at Naruto's back. "I could draft the terms," the boy said. "All parties would know the order in which they would be paid. None could seize your stock while the agreement remained honored." "And what would you ask in return?" Naruto looked over his shoulder. The answer should have been simple. A fee, a favor, a percentage. Contracts required consideration. Value offered for value received. Yet the cough from the rear room came again. Naruto remembered another harbor, another age, a woman with flowers woven through silver hair, laughing as she accused a god of turning every kindness into an exchange. Some things, she had told him, lost their meaning when priced. The memory hurt more than summoning the coin. Nothing, Naruto said, the shopkeeper's eyes narrowed. No one does something for nothing. I am beginning to suspect that is untrue. Naruto stepped into the festival street. People noticed him immediately, smiles vanished, parents pulled their children closer. A masked vendor turned his sign from open to closed. Two Chunin standing beside a lantern post watched him with hands near their weapons. Naruto walked between them carrying his food. He did not shout. He did not demand attention. That unsettled them more than his usual pranks. Behind him, the shopkeeper remained silent, holding a stone coin that felt heavier than iron. Naruto reached his apartment shortly after sunset. The festival continued outside. Its music passed easily through the thin walls. His home consisted of one bedroom, a small kitchen, and a bathroom whose pipes groaned whenever he used hot water. Empty cups of instant ramen covered the table. Milk had spoiled in the refrigerator. Several orange jackets lay in a pile because no one had taught him how to remove stains properly. The sight filled him with two contradictory reactions. Naruto was accustomed to it. Zhongli was appalled. 6,000 years of memory supplied detailed knowledge of architecture, trade law, mineral refinement, funeral rites, military strategy, etiquette, tea preparation, and the proper construction of ceremonial incense burners. None of it explained why the boy had been left to raise himself. Naruto placed the food on the table. Then he searched the apartment. The process took an hour. He examined every document, receipt, letter, and piece of clothing. He checked beneath floorboards, behind cupboards, inside the water tank, and along the external walls. He found 3 surveillance seals. One above his door, one beneath the windowsill, one hidden behind the bathroom mirror. The seals did not continuously observe him. They recorded changes in chakra and would alert someone if the Nine-Tails' power surged. Naruto sat at the table. His hands trembled, not from fear, from anger. He laid out everything he knew as though arranging evidence before a court. Fact: a beast called the Nine-Tailed Fox had attacked Konoha 6 years ago. Fact: the 4th Hokage defeated it and died. Fact: the beast now existed inside Naruto. Fact: village law prohibited adults from discussing this with children. Fact: Naruto had never been told the full truth. Fact: someone watched his home. Fact: the Hokage personally provided his allowance. Fact: the Hokage had repeatedly told him that the village was his family. Naruto stared at the surveillance seal resting on the table. A family, he murmured, does not require hidden clauses. He reached for the divine power again. Nothing answered. Of course, he had no contract with the village, no recognized standing, no agreed terms, only assumptions. The village assumed it owned his loyalty because it fed him. The villagers assumed he carried guilt because he carried the fox. The Hokage assumed secrecy protected him. Naruto had assumed the Hokage cared because the old man occasionally visited. None of these were agreements. They were expectations wearing the clothes of law. Naruto's breathing slowed. There had been a time when he would have painted the Hokage monument in response, or scattered traps through the administrative building. He would have shouted until someone acknowledged him. The memories inside him offered another path, not revenge, not yet. First came valuation, then terms, then enforcement. He pulled a blank academy notebook from beneath a pile of laundry. At the top of the first page, he wrote, "Contract between Naruto Uzumaki and the Hidden Leaf Village." His handwriting was terrible. He tore out the page. On the second attempt, the letters leaned in different directions. He tore that out too. By the 7th attempt, the writing was readable. Naruto spent the next 3 hours drafting. The first version had 26 clauses. The second had 18. The third had 9. He removed every demand that could not be measured. The village could not be contractually required to love him. The Hokage could not guarantee that no citizen would ever insult him. Such terms attempted to bind will rather than action, invalid. He could not demand loyalty, he could demand honesty, he could not demand affection. He could demand food suitable for consumption, safe housing, education, and notification of decisions made in his name. He could not require the village to trust him. He could require it to stop lying. Near midnight, someone knocked. Naruto closed the notebook. He knew the chakra outside. Everyone in Konoha knew it. The third Hokage entered without waiting for permission. Hiruzen Sarutobi wore his white ceremonial robes beneath a heavy cloak. His hat was tucked under one arm. Festival incense clung to his clothes. Two masked Anbu remained on the roof. The Hokage looked around the apartment. His eyes settled upon the open surveillance seals. For the first time that evening, his grandfatherly expression failed. Naruto, Lord Third. Hiruzen became very still. Naruto had never called him that. Usually it was old man. Sometimes Gramps when Naruto wanted money or attention. Hiruzen placed his hat on the table. I heard there was an incident at a shop. The merchant attempted to charge an unfair price. He claims you created a coin from stone. I did. May I see it? The merchant currently holds it. Hiruzen studied him. The boy's posture was different. His speech was different. Even the way he watched the room had changed. He no longer bounced his leg or glanced toward the window whenever festival fireworks exploded. What happened to you today? Naruto considered several answers. He remembered an ancient principle: never offer more information than the negotiation requires. I remembered something. What? My value. Hiruzen's face softened with sadness. You have always had value. To whom? To me. Naruto looked at the dirty apartment, then at the surveillance seals. Hiruzen followed his gaze. They are for your protection. Then why were they hidden? Because knowledge of them might have frightened you. It would have. Hiruzen sighed. You are very young, Naruto. There are dangers you cannot understand yet. That is the answer you always give when you do not want me to know something. It is not a lie. A statement can be true and still be used to deceive. The Hokage's eyes sharpened. That did not sound like a 6-year-old's observation. Naruto opened the notebook. I have questions. This may not be the best night. Who were my parents? Silence. The fireworks outside cracked across the sky. Hiruzen's hands disappeared into his sleeves. I cannot tell you. Cannot or will not. Both. Did they abandon me? No. Were they criminals? No. Did they die during the Nine-Tails attack? Hiruzen did not answer quickly enough. Naruto felt the truth before the old man spoke. They died protecting the village, Hiruzen said. And me? Another pause. Yes, Naruto's fingers tightened around the notebook. Did they choose for the Nine-Tails to be sealed inside me? Hiruzen's eyes widened. The Anbu on the roof shifted. Naruto heard the faint scrape of a sandal against tile. How do you know about the seal? Hiruzen asked. The entire village knows. Children learn hatred from adults who believe children are not listening. Hiruzen lowered himself into the opposite chair. Your parents wanted you to live. That was not my question, Naruto. Did they choose this for me? Hiruzen's voice became quiet. Your father did. Something inside Naruto cracked, not loudly, not dramatically. It was the small, clean sound of a seal breaking on an unopened letter. His father had made the choice. The village had inherited its benefit. Naruto had inherited its cost, yet no one would even give him the man's name. Was I ever asked? You were an infant. Then I was not. The village would have been destroyed. Then the village owes me. Hiruzen flinched. Naruto did not enjoy it. That surprised him. Part of the lonely boy wanted to hurt the old man. Zhongli's memories offered thousands of precise ways to do so. A sentence delivered at the correct moment could wound more deeply than a spear. But Naruto did not want pain. He wanted clarity. You feed me, Naruto said. You provide this apartment. You pay the academy. Those things are treated as charity. Hiruzen frowned. They are not. They are insufficient payment for imprisoning a tailed beast inside my body. The room felt colder. Naruto, you are not a prisoner. Am I permitted to leave the village when you are older? Am I permitted to refuse shinobi training? Hiruzen hesitated. Every child has choices. Would I still be allowed to leave? No answer. Naruto turned the notebook toward him. I will no longer accept undefined obligations. Hiruzen read the title, his expression darkened with each clause. The Hidden Leaf Village would provide Naruto with safe housing, sufficient food, medical care, education, and a monthly living allowance until his 18th birthday. Naruto would receive truthful answers regarding any threat directly affecting his body, seal, property, or legal status, except where disclosure presented an immediate and specific danger. Any withheld information would require written acknowledgement that information had been withheld. Naruto would not be deployed as a military asset before achieving active shinobi status through the same standards applied to other academy students. The village would not alter, weaken, weaponize, or otherwise interfere with his seal without his informed agreement, except during an immediate threat to life. Naruto would obey the village civil laws, attend the academy, refrain from deliberately releasing the Ninetales, and report any dangerous changes in the seal. The agreement would remain in force until Naruto's 18th birthday, unless amended by mutual consent. At the bottom waited 2 lines. One for Naruto Uzumaki, one for the sitting Hokage, acting on behalf of the Hidden Leaf Village. Hiruzen read it twice. Who helped you write this? No one. You expect me to believe a 6-year-old drafted a legal agreement? No, I expect you to judge the terms. The echo of his words to the shopkeeper was not lost on him. Hiruzen placed the notebook down. I cannot sign this. Which clause is unacceptable? You are asking for access to classified information. I am asking to be told when classified information concerns my body. You do not understand how enemies could use what you know. Then explain the specific danger in writing. Naruto, the world does not function through pieces of paper. A faint vibration passed beneath their feet. Hiruzen stopped. Naruto's eyes glimmered amber for half a second. No. The child said, it functions through promises. The stone beneath the building answered, not enough to attack, not enough to harm, only enough to listen. Hiruzen felt the air become dense. His instincts, sharpened across decades of war, warned him that something vast had turned its attention toward the room. Naruto placed his palm upon the notebook. Dust slipped from cracks in the floor and gathered across the table. Unlike the coin, this manifestation was not forced from nothing. The floor already contained stone. Naruto merely asked it to change shape. Even that nearly exceeded him. His vision blurred. The dust spread over the paper, coating each page without obscuring the words. It compressed into a thin rectangular tablet no larger than the notebook itself. Every clause appeared carved into its surface. The letters shone once, then cooled. Naruto pulled his hand away, gasping. Hiruzen rose. Naruto, I am fine. He was not. His heart felt like a kunai had been driven through it. Both arms were numb and blood had begun running from his nose again. But the tablet existed, the first potential entry in an empty ledger. Hiruzen stared at it. What happens if I sign? The agreement becomes binding. Through what technique? It is not ninjutsu. Then what is it? Naruto searched through a god's memories for an answer simple enough for a shinobi: authority. Hiruzen looked toward the ceiling. The Anbu were waiting for an order. Naruto noticed, if you believe I am attacking you, leave. You would allow that? A signature made under threat has no value. Hiruzen studied him for a long time, and if one of us breaks the terms, the agreement will enforce itself. How? The penalty will match the breach. That is dangerously vague. Yes, Hiruzen almost smiled. The boy had admitted the weakness instead of hiding it. What penalty applies to you? The same principle. If you attempt to release the Ninetales, my power will prevent the act if possible. If prevention fails, it will turn against me. And if the village lies to you, the responsible authority will lose the ability used to sustain the lie. Hiruzen's eyes narrowed. You drafted a punishment before you understand its consequences. I understand that actions without consequences are wishes, not laws. The old Hokage walked to the window. Below, Konoha celebrated. Thousands filled the streets. Merchants sold food beneath lanterns. Shinobi drank beside civilians. Children carried masks representing heroes from the village's founding. Hiruzen had spent most of his life protecting those people. He had buried students, friends, a wife, and a successor for them. He had told himself that secrecy was another kind of sacrifice. Naruto's identity had been hidden to protect him from Minato's enemies. The truth of the Nine Tails had been restricted to prevent panic. The boy had been kept at a distance because Hiruzen feared that showing too much affection would reveal his importance. Each decision had possessed a reason. Together, they had created a 6-year-old who lived alone, ate spoiled food, and had learned about the monster inside him through playground hatred. Hiruzen closed his eyes. The road to every great tragedy he had witnessed had been paved with reasonable decisions no one was forced to defend. "You said the agreement ends when you are 18, he said. "A contract must have an end. And afterward, we negotiate again." Hiruzen turned. "You truly believe the village owes you?" Naruto met his gaze. Yes, the answer carried no resentment. That made it harder to dismiss. "What do you believe you owe the village?" Hiruzen asked. Naruto looked toward the window. A younger version of himself would have answered immediately, everything. He would become Hokage. He would force every villager to acknowledge him. He would protect people who despised him, because one day they might finally smile. The child still wanted that. The gods' memories did not erase him. They merely demanded he examine the price. "I owe Kano her obedience to laws that also protect me," Naruto said. "I owe it reasonable care for the lives around me. I owe it restraint regarding the creature sealed inside my body." He paused. "I do not owe it my life simply because it expects me to give it." Hiruzen lowered his head. No child should. Then sign. The directness almost made the Hokage laugh. Instead, he approached the table. He removed a small brush and ink container from inside his robe. Signing official documents was such a common duty that he carried them even during festivals. Hiruzen dipped the brush. The tip hovered above the stone. "One amendment," he said. Naruto waited. "The village may withhold information when disclosure presents an immediate and specific danger. You included that. I want the judgment reviewed every 6 months, even if you do not request it." Naruto considered the term. It placed an additional burden on the village. It also gave the Hokage a legitimate procedure for secrecy rather than pretending secrecy would never be necessary. Accepted. The words carved themselves beneath the relevant clause. Hiruzen's hand tightened. The stone had changed without touch. "One further clarification," Naruto said. "The contract binds the office, not only you. If another Hokage replaces you before my 18th birthday, the terms remain active." Hiruzen nodded. "Accepted." Naruto signed first. His handwriting looked painfully childish beneath the precise clauses. Naruto Uzumaki. Hiruzen stared at the name. Then he signed. "Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage of Konohagakure." For one breath, nothing happened. Then the world settled. The sensation was subtle. No explosion, no pillar of light. The tablet's letters filled with warm gold, and a single deep note passed through the stone beneath Konoha. Too low for most villagers to hear, but every shinobi dog in the eastern district lifted its head. The Anbu above the apartment dropped into defensive stances. Far beneath Naruto's consciousness, the empty ledger opened. On its first blank page, words appeared: one agreement, one recognized obligation, one promise freely made, a brick, tiny compared to the authority he once commanded, yet it was his. The divine spark inside Naruto strengthened, not enough to raise a spear, not enough to form a shield, enough to make the room feel solid in a way it had not before. Hiruzen touched the tablet. His eyes widened as understanding entered him, not the details of Naruto's forgotten life, but the certainty that the agreement existed beyond ink. The Hokage could still lie. The contract did not remove his will. It merely ensured that the choice would carry its price. Naruto swayed. Hiruzen caught him before he fell. For a moment, the ancient god resisted the indignity. Then the 6-year-old child won. Naruto sagged against the old man's robes. "You need a doctor," Hiruzen said. "I need dinner." "You need both." Hiruzen lifted him. Naruto was alarmingly light. The Hokage looked at the bag of rice on the table, then at the expired milk and empty ramen cups. Shame crossed his face. The contract did not create the shame. It only prevented him from escaping what had caused it. As Hiruzen carried him toward the door, Naruto's eyes drifted shut. Lord Third? Yes, the shopkeeper near the Western Lantern Road requires a physician for his wife. Hiruzen paused. He overcharged you. Yes. And you still want to help him? Naruto thought of the old memory again, silver hair, flowers, laughter beside a harbor built from promises. Not everything should be a transaction, he murmured. Hiruzen looked down at the child in his arms. For the first time that night, he saw Naruto rather than the Nine-Tails container, Minato's son, Konoha's responsibility, or the lonely boy who painted monuments. He saw someone whose choices could not be reduced to what the village expected of him. I will send a physician, Hiruzen promised. Naruto's eyes opened slightly. Is that part of our contract? No. Good. He fell asleep before they reached the stairs. Outside, fireworks burst above the Hokage monument, scattering gold across the night sky. The villagers cheered. None of them noticed the thin stone tablet carried beneath Hiruzen's arm. None understood that the balance of their village had shifted inside a neglected apartment. For 6 years, Konoha had possessed the strongest Jinchuriki of his generation. That night, for the first time, Naruto Uzumaki possessed something in return. Terms. Chapter 2, The Nine-Tailed Debtor. Naruto dreamed of chains, not ordinary iron chains. These were made from handwriting. Thousands of characters stretched through darkness, each clause linked to the next. Promises wrapped around claws larger than buildings. Seals covered a mountain of orange fur. Names had been carved into the creature's flesh by hands that never asked permission. Property of the Hidden Leaf. Weapon of the Uzumaki. Asset of the fourth Hokage. Container. Naruto Uzumaki. The final chain passed through Naruto's chest. He awoke screaming. For several seconds. He did not recognize the room. White walls, clean sheets, the smell of medicine. Sunlight entered through a narrow window. A vase containing 3 yellow flowers sat beside the bed, and a privacy curtain divided him from the rest of the hospital ward. Naruto pressed one hand against his stomach. The seal was hidden beneath the thin hospital shirt. Nothing moved under his skin. No claws pushed through his ribs. No voice whispered inside his skull. Only the memory of the dream remained. He looked toward the chair beside the bed. Hiruzen Sarutobi was asleep in it. The third Hokage had removed his ceremonial robes. He wore the dark uniform beneath them, though his armor had been placed carefully against the wall. An unfinished cup of tea rested near his hand. Naruto watched him for a moment. The old man looked smaller while sleeping, not weaker, just human. 6,000 years of memory had taught Naruto that titles created distance. People bowed to kings, prayed to gods, saluted generals, and forgot that beneath the silk and armor existed flesh that became tired. Zhongli had been guilty of encouraging that distance. Naruto was beginning to suspect Hiruzen had done the same. The child shifted beneath the blanket. Hiruzen's eyes opened immediately. You are awake. So are you. I am now. The Hokage reached for the tea, remembered it had gone cold, and placed it down again. How do you feel? Hungry. That is becoming your answer to every medical question. It remains accurate. Hiruzen smiled faintly. A nurse will bring breakfast. Naruto looked at the sunlight. How long was I unconscious? Nearly a full day. His fingers tightened around the blanket. The contract, still active. Hiruzen lifted his right hand. A small mark had appeared around his index finger. It resembled a narrow ring of stone, covered in letters too small to read. The tablet is secured in my office, he said. Your copy will be delivered to your apartment after we prepare a safe place for it. My copy? A contract should not be held by only one party. Naruto studied him carefully. That was not written in the terms. No, then why are you doing it? Because it is fair. The answer unsettled Naruto more than an argument would have. He looked away. The yellow flowers beside the bed were fresh. Did you send a physician to the shopkeeper's wife? Yes. Will she live? Hiruzen hesitated. She has a severe lung infection. The physician believes she can recover, but it will take time. Naruto nodded. The relief he felt was warm and strangely uncomfortable. He had spent thousands of years measuring the results of agreements. Trade increased. Wars ended. Borders held. Debts were settled. There had always been a number, a result. This had no entry in the ledger. He had helped a woman who owed him nothing. The act remained invisible to his divine authority. Yet it mattered. A nurse entered carrying breakfast. She smiled at Hiruzen. Then she saw Naruto. Her smile became professional, not cruel, not openly afraid, controlled. She placed the tray on the bed without stepping closer than necessary. Rice porridge, eggs, a sliced apple, warm tea. Naruto noticed that she had included 2 sets of wooden chopsticks. One pair was for the food. The other had been placed beside the tray in case he dropped the first. A small kindness, perhaps accidental. He decided not to assign it a price. The nurse checked his temperature and pulse. She refused to meet his eyes for long, but her hands did not shake. When she left, Naruto ate in silence. Hiruzen remained beside him. Halfway through the porridge, Naruto spoke. The Ninetales is conscious. The Hokage's body became still. Naruto continued eating. I have not spoken to it yet. How do you know it is conscious? The seal is designed as a containment system, not a storage system. Hiruzen's gaze sharpened. What does that mean? A storage seal holds an object. This seal regulates the movement of energy between 2 living entities. It adapts. It weakens and strengthens in response to emotion. Something on the other side is making decisions. Naruto set down the chopsticks. Therefore, it is alive, aware, and imprisoned. Hiruzen released a slow breath. You examined the seal. I felt it. You must not interfere with it. Our contract states the village cannot interfere with it without my informed agreement. It also states that you will refrain from deliberately releasing the Ninetales. I have not proposed releasing it. Then what are you proposing? Naruto looked down at his stomach. A negotiation. No, the answer came immediately. The stone ring around Hiruzen's finger warmed. The Hokage noticed. Naruto did too. Your refusal does not violate our terms, Naruto said. You are permitted to advise me. I am not advising you. I am ordering you. I have not graduated from the academy. You are still a citizen of Konoha. A citizen cannot be forbidden from thinking. A citizen can be forbidden from endangering thousands of lives. Hiruzen rose from the chair. The tired old man disappeared. In his place stood the Hokage. The pressure in the room changed. Naruto had felt similar things in his former life when warriors released killing intent. Hiruzen's was controlled, not directed at him, but present. The Ninetales destroyed half this village, Hiruzen said. It killed shinobi, civilians, parents, and children. It is not a misunderstood prisoner waiting to be reasoned with. It is hatred given flesh. Naruto listened without interrupting. You do not know what it can do, Hiruzen continued. You did not see the bodies. You did not hear the village burning. No, Naruto said. I was too young. Hiruzen's jaw tightened. That is not what I meant. It is still true. The Hokage looked toward the window. Naruto picked up a slice of apple. Did the Ninetales attack without cause? Yes. Are you certain? Hiruzen turned back. What kind of question is that? One that should be answered before judgment. It appeared inside the village and began killing people. That describes what happened. It does not explain why. Naruto, was it free before the attack? Hiruzen did not reply. The silence was answer enough. Naruto put down the apple. Who held it? The Hokage's eyes narrowed. That information is classified. The ring around his finger remained cold. The contract accepted the answer because Hiruzen had acknowledged the information was being withheld. Naruto disliked it, but the terms were functioning. Did the person holding it choose to release it? Hiruzen's expression changed. Naruto saw the truth. No, Hiruzen said. The Ninetales was controlled by an attacker. And after being controlled against its will, it was sealed inside me against mine. That does not excuse what it did. No. Naruto's voice remained even, but it changes the debt. Hiruzen stared at him. What debt? The village believes the Ninetales owes payment for the lives it took. The Ninetales may believe the village owes payment for its imprisonment. Beasts do not participate in law. Then why punish one? The question remained between them. Hiruzen had no immediate answer. Naruto finished his breakfast. "I will not damage the seal," he said. "I will not release the Nine Tails. I will not give it control of my body. You should not speak to it at all. That is not included in our agreement." "I could amend village law." "You could." Naruto met his gaze. "But a law created specifically to silence one citizen after he requests information would be difficult to call protection." Hiruzen rubbed his forehead. "You were easier yesterday." "I was unconscious yesterday." "You were easier before that." "I was uninformed before that." The old man almost laughed. The sound escaped as a tired breath instead. "What do you intend to offer it?" "I do not know." "That is not reassuring. I cannot know before hearing what it wants. And if it wants freedom, then I will determine whether freedom can be granted safely." "It cannot." "Perhaps." "There is no perhaps." Naruto looked at him for several seconds. Did anyone ask the Nine Tails? Hiruzen did not answer. The sunlight shifted across the hospital floor. Eventually, the Hokage returned to the chair. "If you feel its chakra," he said quietly, "you call for help." "Agreed." "If it attempts to influence you, you withdraw. If I am able. If you are not able, the Anbu monitoring you will intervene." Naruto glanced at the ceiling. The masked shinobi above them stopped moving. "I knew one was there," Naruto said. Hiruzen sighed. "He is not hidden from you this time." "That is an improvement, Naruto." "Yes, do not mistake understanding something for controlling it." For a moment, the words did not come from a Hokage. They came from an old man who had watched too many students believe knowledge made them invincible. Naruto nodded. "I will remember." He left the hospital that afternoon. Hiruzen wanted him to remain another night. Naruto refused. The physician found no injury beyond exhaustion and chakra depletion, and their new contract made unnecessary confinement difficult to justify. His apartment had changed while he was gone. The expired food had been removed. Fresh vegetables filled the refrigerator. The leaking tap had been repaired. A new mattress replaced the thin one on the floor. Naruto stood in the doorway, staring. His first reaction was anger, not because the changes were unwanted, because they had happened so quickly. The village had always possessed the ability to improve his living conditions. It simply had not done so until a stone tablet made neglect expensive. Then Naruto noticed a small card on the table. The handwriting belonged to Hiruzen. The repairs were overdue. "They are not payment." Naruto read the sentence twice. He placed the card beside his notebook. Then he locked the door and sat in the center of the room. He had never meditated before. Zhongli had. The distinction mattered less with each passing hour. Naruto folded his legs and rested his hands upon his knees. He closed his eyes and followed the flow of chakra through his body. His own chakra felt bright and erratic. It moved like a river during spring thaw, crashing into channels too narrow to contain it. The academy instructors called him clumsy because his transformations consumed too much energy. They treated the problem as laziness. They had never explained that the seal disrupted his control. Deeper inside, beneath his chakra network, waited something enormous. Hot, red, ancient. Naruto followed it. The apartment vanished. He opened his eyes in darkness. Cold water covered his sandals. A corridor stretched ahead, formed from enormous stone blocks and rusted pipes. Dim lights flickered overhead. Each drop of water echoed as though falling inside a cavern. Naruto looked down at himself. He still wore his orange jacket. His body felt real, though he knew he had not physically moved. "An interior domain," he murmured. His voice traveled through the corridor. Something moved in the distance. A low growl answered. The water trembled. Naruto walked forward. Every instinct belonging to his 6-year-old body begged him to run. The sound ahead was too deep to come from any creature that should exist. Each growl entered through his bones rather than his ears. Zhongli's memories remained calm. Naruto's heart did not. He allowed both reactions to exist. Courage was not the absence of fear. It was the decision that something else mattered more. The corridor opened into an enormous chamber. Bars rose from floor to ceiling. Behind them waited darkness. Two red eyes opened. Naruto stopped. The nine-tailed fox moved closer. First came its muzzle, then teeth longer than Naruto's body. Orange fur emerged from shadow, followed by claws that scraped against stone. 9 tails shifted behind it, each movement displacing air like a storm. The creature lowered its head until one eye filled Naruto's vision. So, it rumbled, the jailer's brat finally comes to admire his prisoner. Naruto's throat tightened. He had faced gods in another life. He remembered standing against monsters that swallowed sunlight, but memory was not flesh. This body was 6 years old. The fox could smell the difference. Its lips pulled back. "You are afraid?" "Yes." Kurama paused. It had expected denial. Naruto stepped closer to the bars. "You are the Nine-Tails. I have been called worse. Do you have another name?" The fox's eye narrowed. "Why?" "Negotiations are difficult when one party is addressed only by a classification." A sound rolled through the chamber. For a moment, Naruto thought it was thunder. Then he realized the fox was laughing. Negotiations. Its voice dripped with contempt. "The old ape sent a child to bargain with me?" "No." "The dead blonde, then? Has his little ghost finally found the courage to visit?" Naruto's expression changed. "You knew my father." The fox's laughter stopped. Its massive face pressed closer to the bars. "So they did not tell you." Naruto felt anger stir. He controlled it. "I know he sealed you inside me." "You know nothing." "Then explain." The fox's grin returned. "You came here to offer terms, little jailer. Offer them." Naruto studied the cage. A paper seal had been placed across the central bars. Complex characters surrounded it, woven through layers of chakra. Beneath those visible structures, Naruto sensed a far more intricate design. The seal did not merely imprison the fox. It filtered its chakra. Over time, it was intended to mix that chakra with Naruto's own. The discovery made him feel ill. The village had not only placed a living creature inside him, the seal had been designed to consume it slowly. "You can see it now," the fox whispered. Naruto remained silent. The clever little mechanism. Its claws dug into the floor. "I rot in this cage. You grow stronger. My chakra becomes yours. My hatred becomes your weapon. And one day the village places a metal plate on your forehead and calls the theft honorable." Naruto approached the seal. "Did my father design this?" The fox's teeth showed. "Your father placed his hand inside my soul and tore me in two." Naruto stopped. "Half of me was dragged into death with him. Half was stuffed inside you." The water around Naruto's feet began to ripple. The fox watched his reaction hungrily. It wanted anger, not because anger would free it immediately, because anger was a crack. Cracks widened. Naruto closed his eyes. The fourth Hokage, his father. The hero celebrated in the streets while Naruto was forbidden from attending the festival. A man who had turned his child into a prison and the prisoner into fuel. Perhaps there had been reasons. There were always reasons. Naruto opened his eyes. "I am sorry." The fox stared at him. "What?" "I benefited from your imprisonment without knowing it." For the first time, the creature's expression lost its certainty. Naruto bowed, not deeply, not submissively, formally. "I cannot return the years already taken from you. I can acknowledge the debt." The fox lunged. Its claws struck the bars. The chamber shook. Water exploded around Naruto, throwing him backward. He hit the floor and slid several meters before stopping. "Do not speak to me of debt." The roar became wind. Naruto shielded his face. The fox's chakra poured between the bars as red mist. "Your clan chained me." Another strike. "Your village caged me." The floor cracked. "Your father butchered me." The creature's eye burned like an open furnace. "And now you crawl into my prison wearing his face and offer acknowledgement?" Naruto rose slowly. His knees trembled. "Yes." The fox became still. Naruto wiped water from his cheek. "Because acknowledgement is what I have. Keep it. I can offer more." The fox's gaze sharpened. Naruto reached into his jacket. There was no physical notebook inside the mindscape, yet when he pulled his hand free, several sheets of pale stone formed between his fingers. The ledger's authority had followed him. Barely. Golden lines appeared across the pages. I propose a limited agreement, Naruto said. The fox stared at the tablet. You will not attempt to seize control of my body or deliberately harm civilians through me. In exchange, I will prevent further interference with the seal, provide regular access to the outside world through my senses, and work toward a safe method of releasing you. Silence. The first term would last 1 year, Naruto continued. At its conclusion, either party may refuse renewal. During that year, you may withdraw cooperation at any time, provided you do not attempt to take control. The fox's gaze moved across the writing. Naruto felt its intelligence behind the hatred. It understood every word. Safe method, the fox repeated. Yes, safe for whom? Both of us. And who determines what is safe? We would define measurable conditions together. The fox laughed again. This time there was no amusement in it. You truly believe this cage becomes just because the prisoner approves the feeding schedule. That is not what I offered. You offered me freedom at a time chosen by you, under conditions written by you, in exchange for good behavior judged by you. The conditions can be changed. By mutual agreement? Yes. And if I refuse, the current situation remains. The fox lowered its head. Then your offer is made with a knife already at my throat. Naruto's grip on the stone pages tightened. I did not place you here, but you hold the key. I do not know if removing the seal would kill us both. Then remove it and learn. No, the answer was immediate. The fox's lips curled. There, the jailer speaks. I will not risk thousands of lives without understanding the consequences. Then do not pretend this is negotiation. Naruto looked at the proposed contract. The words had seemed reasonable, generous, even a 1-year term, mutual amendments, a path toward freedom. Yet the fox was correct about one thing. Naruto had drafted every clause before asking what it wanted. What terms would you accept? He asked. None. There must be something, freedom. Under what conditions? No conditions. I cannot agree to that. Then we are finished. Naruto remained where he stood. The fox turned away. Its tails disappeared into darkness. I can provide access to my senses without requiring chakra in return. Naruto said, no response. I can prevent the village from altering your seal. Silence. I can learn who controlled you during the attack. One red eye looked back. Naruto continued. If someone forced you to attack Konoha, then responsibility belongs partly to that person. I can investigate. You want a shared enemy. I want the truth. So did the others. Naruto frowned. What others? The fox turned toward him again. Its voice became quieter, that made it more dangerous. There was a woman with red hair. Naruto stopped breathing. She spoke gently when she first entered the cage. She said we were alike, both feared, both used by villages. The fox's claws dragged through the water. Then she wrapped chains around my throat. Naruto said nothing. Before her came another woman. She did not hate me. That was supposed to make the prison kinder. Its teeth showed. She still kept the door closed. The fox moved closer. Before them were shinobi who carved symbols into my flesh and called it duty. Before them were villages that hunted my siblings. Before villages were old men who divided us, named us, and claimed affection, excused ownership. Every word carried centuries. You are not the first human to offer me better terms, the fox said. You are only the youngest. Naruto looked down at the contract in his hands. Its golden lines felt suddenly ugly. Seals are contracts, the fox continued. Agreements signed by people standing outside the cage. Your kind has always loved writing terms about me. Naruto remembered the laws of his authority. Consent obtained under coercion produced no divine enforcement. A prisoner offered less suffering in exchange for obedience was not truly free to choose. He had known the rule. He had failed to recognize the coercion. Because this time, the cage benefited him. The stone pages began to crumble. Naruto released them. They dissolved into sand before reaching the water. No contract, then, he said. The fox watched carefully. Naruto approached the central bars. The paper seal waited above him. He could sense the method of removing it. He could also sense the disaster that would follow. The seal was connected to his chakra network, his life, and the fox's divided power. Tearing it away completely would not create clean freedom, it would create a struggle for control. Perhaps Kurama would overwhelm him, perhaps Naruto's body would fail. Perhaps the Ninetales would emerge inside the village hospital district. That was not freedom, it was an explosion. But the visible cage was not the entirety of the seal. Naruto placed his hand against the bars. The fox growled. "What are you doing?" Examining the structure. "Remove the paper?" "No," the fox snarled. Naruto did not withdraw his hand. "The outer seal maintains the boundary between your chakra and my body," he said. "The bars inside this domain are symbolic. They regulate contact, but they are not the foundation of the prison. You speak as though that matters. It means this door can be opened without releasing you into the village." The fox's eye narrowed. Naruto reached toward the lock formed in the center of the bars. It had no physical key. The mechanism responded to intent. He pressed 2 fingers against it. The divine spark inside him stirred. Not to enforce a contract, not to purchase cooperation, only to move stone. The lock turned. The central section of bars groaned. A doorway opened. Naruto stepped back. The fox stared at the gap. It was far too small for its full body, yet one claw could pass through. Its muzzle could reach the corridor. Its chakra could move more freely within Naruto's inner world. The outer seal remained untouched. No power had been offered, no obligation created, no terms written. Naruto sat in the shallow water outside the open doorway. The fox did not move. "What is the trick?" it asked. "There is none." "What do you want?" "Nothing. You are lying. I came here wanting cooperation. You refused. And now I am sitting." The fox's chakra pressed through the doorway. It touched Naruto's skin like fire. He flinched but remained seated. "You expect gratitude?" "No. Trust? No. Forgiveness? No." The fox lowered its muzzle toward the opening. "Then leave." Naruto stood. The fox's eyes followed him. At the entrance to the corridor, the child stopped. "I will return tomorrow." "Do not." "I heard your refusal." "Then obey it." "You refused a contract. You did not forbid conversation." The fox's growl shook dust from the ceiling. Naruto considered the distinction. "That was dishonest," he admitted. "I will not return tomorrow." The fox looked almost surprised. Naruto continued, "I will return the day after." "If you tell me to leave then, I will leave." "Why return at all?" Naruto looked back at the open cage door. "Because no one should spend eternity with only the people who imprison them for company." The fox bared its teeth. Naruto expected another roar. Instead, Kurama withdrew into darkness. "Get out." Naruto nodded. The chamber faded. He awoke on the apartment floor. Night had fallen. Sweat covered his face, and the seal on his stomach burned. For several minutes he lay still, listening to the refrigerator hum. No red chakra leaked from his body. No Anbu crashed through the window. The outer seal remained secure. Naruto sat up. He opened his notebook and turned to a blank page. At the top, he wrote, "Nine-tailed FOX." He stared at the words, then crossed them out. Below them, he wrote, "Name unknown." Under that, he recorded what he had learned. The fox had been controlled during the attack. It had been divided into 2 halves. Naruto's father had created or completed the seal. At least 2 women had contained the Ninetales before him. One had possessed red hair. The contract proposal had failed because the existing imprisonment made free consent impossible. Naruto stopped writing. He added one final sentence. "A refusal is not an obstacle to negotiation. It is a term that must be honored." 2 days later, he returned. The cage door remained open. The fox lay in darkness. Naruto sat outside and said nothing. After 10 minutes, Kurama ordered him to leave. Naruto left. 3 days later, he returned again. The fox did not speak. Naruto sat for 20 minutes and described the harvest festival. He did not ask a question. He did not request chakra. He did not mention freedom. When he finished, he left. A week later, Naruto brought a mental recreation of a book from the academy library and read it aloud badly. The fox threatened to eat him. Naruto corrected his pronunciation and continued. The following month, he described the merchant's wife recovering from her illness. The fox called humans fragile. Naruto agreed. During winter, Naruto complained about the academy heating system. The fox told him to stop whining. Naruto asked whether tailed beasts felt cold. The fox refused to answer. Naruto did not ask again. Spring arrived. The door remained open. Naruto's life outside the seal grew busier. He attended the academy, trained his chakra, studied village lore, and began spending evenings in a struggling tea shop near the market district. Still, he returned. Sometimes he spoke. Sometimes he listened to the fox breathe. Sometimes both of them sat in silence. No contract appeared in the golden ledger. No authority was gained. No debt was paid. For the first time in either of Naruto's lives, he continued giving his time to someone who had promised him absolutely nothing. And behind the open bars, the Nine-Tails watched. It did not trust him. It did not forgive him. It did not tell him its name, but it stopped ordering him to leave. Chapter 3, the assay office. By the time Naruto Uzumaki was 7, half the merchants in Konoha had learned not to cheat him. The other half had learned to hide it better. Naruto preferred the second group. A crude lie revealed little. An intelligent deception taught him something about the person attempting it. He learned which grocers added stones to the bottoms of grain sacks. He learned which clothes sellers shortened their measuring ropes by half an inch. He learned that the butcher near the southern wall kept 2 sets of scales, one for shinobi families and another for civilians unlikely to complain. He also learned that most dishonesty in Konoha did not begin with greed. It began with fear. Fear that winter would arrive early. Fear that a mission payment would be delayed. Fear that a landlord would increase rent. Fear that a child would become sick. Fear that one bad week could erase 20 good years. Naruto did not excuse theft. But he began to understand why people who considered themselves honest sometimes moved numbers when no one was watching. The village itself encouraged the habit. Shinobi missions brought money into Konoha in unpredictable waves. A wealthy month might be followed by 3 poor ones. Merchants depended on clan contracts, military requisitions, and payments from traveling nobles. Few civilians possessed enough savings to survive a serious disruption. The great clans had private storehouses. The village administration had emergency reserves. Everyone else had promises. Most of those promises were unwritten. Naruto found that unacceptable. His first attempt to improve the system began with tea. The shop stood between a sandal maker and a building that had been abandoned after the Nine-Tails attack. Its sign read, "Steam and Leaf Tea House." The paint had faded so badly that the final word could barely be seen. Naruto entered because it was raining. He stayed because the owner did not throw him out. "Sit wherever you like," the man behind the counter said. Naruto paused. The shop was nearly empty. There were 6 tables, though one had been broken and pushed against the wall. Steam rose from an old iron kettle. The room smelled of roasted tea leaves, damp wood, and soup stock. The owner was broad-shouldered with dark hair tied beneath a cloth band. A burned scar crossed one forearm. A young girl stood beside him, stacking chipped cups. She stared at Naruto's whisker marks. Her father gently touched her shoulder. The girl looked away and continued working. Naruto selected a seat near the door. The man approached. "What can I get you?" Naruto examined the menu. Most of the writing had been crossed out. No dumplings, no flour, no sweet buns, no sugar. "Rice crackers." The man glanced toward an empty shelf. "Not today." Naruto lowered the menu. "What do you have?" "Tea." "What kind?" "Hot." The girl covered a laugh with both hands. Her father sighed. "We have roasted barley tea, 10 ryo." Naruto placed 10 ryo on the table. The man looked at the coins, then at him. "You can pay after." "I prefer paying before receiving a service." "You think I'm going to change the price?" "No." "Then why?" "Because you need the money now." The man's expression shifted. Naruto pointed toward the kettle. The charcoal supplier stopped delivering. The girl looked at the nearly empty fuel box. "The landlord has given you less than 2 weeks," Naruto continued. 3 tables were sold recently. The missing marks on the floor have not faded." The owner folded his arms. Do you inspect every shop you enter? Yes. That sounds exhausting. It is. The man collected Naruto's coins. My name is Chuchai. Naruto Uzumaki. I know. Naruto waited for the familiar change in expression. It did not come. Chuchai poured the tea. The girl placed a cup in front of Naruto. I'm Ayame, she said. She was several years older than him and had decided curiosity was stronger than caution. Naruto nodded. Thank you. The tea was weak. He drank it anyway. During the following week, Naruto returned 4 times. He brought his academy homework on the second visit. On the third, he repaired the shop's ledger because Chuchai had recorded ingredient purchases and customer payments in the same column. On the fourth, Ayame gave him a bowl of broth without charging him. Naruto noticed. He did not argue. At the end of the month, 2 men entered while Naruto was studying basic chakra theory. They wore the heavy coats of civilian debt collectors. Chuchai's hands stopped moving. Back room, Ayame, he said. She obeyed without protest. That frightened Naruto more than if she had argued. The older debt collector placed a folded paper on the counter. Payment is due. I know, you said that last week. I'll have it after the next market day. You also said that last week. The second man walked through the shop, inspecting the furniture. We can take the kettle. Chuchai's expression hardened. You take that, I can't earn anything. That is not our concern. It should be, Naruto said. Both men looked toward the table. The older collector frowned. This does not involve you, boy. Naruto closed his academy book. How much does he owe? Go home? I am home. The words left his mouth before he considered them. Chuchai looked at him. Naruto pretended not to notice. The collector moved closer. You think this is a game? No, games usually have clearer rules. Stay out of adult matters. Naruto rose. He was still short enough that the man towered over him. That debt was originally issued by the merchant Kinjiro Yamada, Naruto said. 6,000 ryo for tea leaves and dried spices. The collector's face changed. Interest increased the amount to 8,000 over 6 months. Yamada sold the debt to your employer for 5,000 because he needed immediate payment. Who told you that? The transfer seal is visible through the paper. Naruto pointed. The collector looked down involuntarily. You purchased the right to collect 8,000, Naruto continued, but not the right to destroy the debtor's ability to earn it. If you take the kettle, the shop closes. If the shop closes, the building returns to the landlord. You receive furniture worth approximately 1,200 ryo. The second collector stopped examining the chairs. Naruto looked at Chuchai. If the kettle remains, how much can you pay each week? Chuchai hesitated. 500, maybe 6 if business improves. It won't, the older collector said. Naruto looked around the empty shop. Not under its current model. Chuchai's eyes narrowed. Thank you for the confidence. You sell tea in a district where most customers are shinobi returning from missions. They want food. I can't afford ingredients. You have enough stock for broth. Broth isn't a meal. It can become one. Naruto remembered the instant ramen in his apartment. Noodles were cheap. Broth could be prepared in large quantities. Toppings could be adjusted depending on supply. A bowl could provide more reliable profit than tea because people purchased food from necessity rather than leisure. You should sell noodles, Naruto said. Chuchai stared at him. The older collector laughed. We are not here to discuss recipes. No, Naruto replied. You are here to recover money. He reached for the paper. The collector pulled it away. Naruto held out his hand. I will guarantee the first 3 weekly payments. Silence filled the tea house. Chuchai stepped around the counter. No. Naruto looked at him. You cannot afford to refuse. I can refuse a child paying my debts. It is not charity. What do you want? Temporary use of the rear storage room. For what? An office. Ayame peeked from behind the curtain. Chuchai looked toward her, then back at Naruto. What kind of office? One that determines what things are actually worth. The debt collector laughed again. Naruto did not. I will review merchant agreements, verify weights and measures, record debts, and hold copies of transactions. In exchange, I receive the room and 10% of any amount recovered through my services. Chuchai stared at him. You are 7. Yes, you attend the academy. Yes, you cannot legally operate a business. Naruto turned toward the collector. Is that true? The man stopped smiling. Konoha's civilian trade law had not anticipated a 7-year-old opening an office. It required an adult guarantor for property leases, but contained no minimum age for independent clerical services. Naruto already knew that. I need a registered sponsor, he said. Not permission. Chuchai rubbed his forehead. This is madness. The kettle remains, Naruto said. You gain 3 weeks to establish noodle sales. The collectors receive guaranteed payments. I gain the room. He looked toward the debt collectors. Do you accept? The older man considered him carefully. A child's guarantee is worthless. Naruto removed a stone coin from his pocket. It was not the first one he had made. There had been 6 since the Harvest Festival. Each had become slightly easier. Each was registered in the Golden Ledger as a promise against his future labor, goods, or authority. The collector accepted the coin. Golden characters glimmered beneath his thumb. His confidence vanished. What is this? A guarantee? The man looked at Chuchai, then at the old kettle. 3 payments, he said. 500 ryo each. If even one is late, we take the equipment. Accepted? Naruto replied. I did not agree, Chuchai said. Naruto faced him. You are free to refuse. Chuchai studied the boy. Naruto did not pressure him. A contract made under coercion would produce nothing. More importantly, he had begun to understand that an agreement could be technically voluntary while still being shaped by desperation. He could not remove Chuchai's desperation. He could ensure the terms did not exploit it. The rear room leaks, Chuchai warned. I will repair it. It's full of broken furniture. I will remove it. There are rats. They will leave. Iame emerged from the back. Can I paint the sign? Chuchai closed his eyes. Apparently, we are all doing this. The assay office opened 8 days later. Iame painted the new sign herself. The leaf assay and ledger house beneath the words, she added a small image of a coin resting on a scale. Naruto objected to the name. It is too long. I already painted it. It sounds self-important. You are self-important. That is unrelated. Iame kept the sign. The rear storage room became an office through a combination of labor, borrowed tools, and minor geo-manipulation that left Naruto exhausted for 2 days. He repaired the cracked floor by pressing loose stone together. He made shelves from discarded wood and reinforced them with narrow mineral supports. Chuchai provided a desk. Hiruzen supplied an adult registration signature after a conversation that lasted nearly 3 hours. The Hokage did not approve. He also could not identify a clause in village law that Naruto had broken. You should focus on the academy, Hiruzen said. I do. Your instructors report that you sleep in class. The material is inefficiently presented. They report that you disrupt lessons. I correct inaccurate statements. You threw chalk at Mizuki. He said civilian merchants contribute nothing to village defense. That did not justify throwing chalk. I had already raised my hand. Hiruzen pinched the bridge of his nose. Naruto slid the sponsor document across the desk. The old man signed. Iruka Umino arrived at the assay office 2 days later. He carried 6 academy workbooks beneath one arm and looked deeply irritated. You missed class. I submitted the assignments. You are required to attend. I attended the first half. You left through the window. The door would have interrupted the lesson. That is not better. Iruka placed the workbooks on Naruto's desk. He glanced around the narrow room. Shelves contained copies of market prices, loan agreements, rental contracts, and mission payment schedules. Small stone markers separated each category. A woman sat opposite Naruto. She held a damaged receipt. The grain merchant says I still owe him, she explained, but I paid his assistant last month. Did the assistant give you a stamped copy? This. Naruto examined the paper. The stamp is genuine. Iruka watched him compare it to a reference impression stored in a drawer. The merchant changed assistants 3 weeks ago, Naruto said. The old assistant did not enter several payments before leaving. The woman's face fell. So I must pay again. No. Naruto produced a copy of the merchant's standard agreement. Clause 4 states that payment to an authorized employee counts as payment to the business. The merchant is responsible for recovering the missing funds from his former assistant. The woman stared. He told me the paper meant nothing. He was incorrect. Naruto marked the receipt with a thin geo seal. Take this to him. If he continues demanding payment, return here. What will you do? Charge him for wasting both our time, she smiled. It was not the forced smile of a nurse trying to remain professional. It was genuine. Thank you. After she left, Uruka closed the door. You should still be in class. The academy does not teach contract law. You are 7. You have mentioned that before. Uruka picked up one of the transaction books. The entries were neat but written by several different hands. Who are your clerks? Nami works mornings. Kota and Ren work after the mission office closes. Those are children. They are older than I am. They are orphans. Naruto's eyes sharpened. So am I. Uruka immediately regretted the wording. That is not what I meant. They require income. They require schooling. They attend school. Uruka opened another ledger. Each clerk's work hours had been recorded beside wages, meals, and savings deposits. You pay them. Yes. With what money? 10% of recovered or protected value. And when there is no business? My guarantee covers their minimum wage. Uruka looked at him. How many guarantees have you issued? 23. That sounds like too many. It is manageable. It was not. Each guarantee occupied space inside the golden ledger. Naruto felt them constantly, not as voices, as weight. The shopkeeper's stone coin, Chuchai's debt payments, the clerk's wages, a mason's repaired wall, a widow's disputed grain purchase, small promises, each individually harmless. Together they pulled at his geo-authority. The power was effectively vast, but it could not move without an obligation attached to it. Every promise gave him a thread through which authority could flow. It also gave the world a thread tied to him. Uruka placed the book down. Why are you doing this? Because records prevent disputes. That is the practical answer. It is the correct answer. No. Uruka sat opposite him. Why do you care? Naruto glanced through the open doorway. Chuchai was testing his first batch of noodles in the front room. Iame argued that the broth required more salt. 2 orphan clerks sat at a corner table learning arithmetic. Naruto had never intended to create any of this. He had only wanted a dry place to sit during the rain. People behave as though being forgotten is the same as being worthless, he said. Uruka became quiet. Naruto looked at the ledgers. If a debt is not recorded, the powerful person decides whether it existed. If a payment is forgotten, the poor person pays twice. If a promise is spoken without witnesses, the person with the louder voice rewrites it. His fingers rested upon the cover. A ledger remembers for people who cannot force others to remember them. Uruka looked at Naruto for a long time, then he opened one of the academy workbooks. Your mathematics answers are correct, I know. Your written explanations are terrible. They reach the correct result. The academy requires you to show your method. That is inefficient. Uruka took out a brush. Move, Naruto frowned. Uruka pulled a chair beside him. If you insist on running an office after class, then class will follow you here. That evening, Uruka taught Naruto fractions while Chuchai served the first bowl of experimental noodle soup. The noodles were too soft. The broth was too weak. Naruto ate all of it. The years accumulated through entries. At 8, Naruto negotiated a shared storage agreement between 4 vegetable sellers. At 9, he exposed a mission broker who had been charging widows administrative fees that did not exist. At 10, the assay office expanded into the abandoned building next door. Chuchai's tea house no longer sold much tea. The noodle counter became its main business. Iame suggested calling it Ikaraku, using characters that meant one pleasure. Chuchai claimed the name was too optimistic. He painted it on the sign anyway. At 11, Naruto established standardized weights for Konoha's central market. Merchants resisted. Then a weapons supplier delivered a shipment of underweight iron to the Shinobi armory. A single broken kunai injured a chunin during a mission. The administration adopted Naruto's standard within a week. Every certified scale received a small stone seal. The seal did not prevent fraud. It recorded alteration. That distinction mattered. Naruto could bind actions but not wills. A merchant remained free to cheat. The seal simply ensured the deception left evidence. At first, the great trading houses laughed at the assay. They called it a child's counting game. Then their customers began asking for certified receipts. Smaller merchants displayed assay marks to prove their stock was genuine. Mission teams used its records to divide payments. Landlords registered deposits because tenants refused agreements that existed only in private books. Within 4 years, the Leaf Assay and Ledger House held copies of nearly 1/3 of Konoha's civilian commercial agreements. Naruto never forced anyone to use it. They came because trust was cheaper when someone recorded it. That was when the first serious problem appeared. The assay became too successful. A fire destroyed 3 warehouses near the eastern gate. No one died, but merchants lost months of stock. Prices rose overnight. The poorest districts began rationing food. The administration released emergency grain, yet suppliers demanded immediate payment before bringing more goods into the village. Konoha possessed money. The problem was time. Payments from the mission office required signatures from 3 departments. Clan loans required collateral. Merchants outside the village did not trust promises from civilians they had never met. Naruto stood before a crowded assay hall while arguments filled the room. "We cannot deliver without payment," a caravan master said. "The village treasury will pay," Uruka replied. "When?" "Within 2 weeks. My drivers need wages now." A vegetable seller slammed both hands on a desk. "My stock will be gone in 3 days." Chuchai moved through the crowd distributing bowls of soup. The original office had expanded, but on busy days it still felt too small. Naruto sat beneath the assay symbol. He was 11 years old. His face remained round with childhood, but his eyes had grown older. Kurama had once accused him of wearing his father's face. The village was beginning to see something else when it looked at him. Not the 4th Hokage, not the 9 Tails, a guarantor that frightened him. "We require a temporary currency," Naruto said. The room quieted. A treasury clerk frowned. "Konoha already has currency." "Konoha has Ryo," Naruto replied. "The village does not have enough Ryo in immediate circulation to complete these transactions before the treasury's payment process finishes. You propose printing notes. Paper can be forged." "Then what?" Naruto placed one hand on the desk. Stone rose from a prepared basin beside him. It divided into 10 small discs. Each disc flattened, its edges filling with thin golden veins. The room watched in silence. Naruto's breathing grew heavier. He engraved the assay symbol on one side. On the other, he carved his personal seal. "These coins represent a guarantee," he said. "The assay will redeem each for 10 Ryo after the treasury payment clears." The caravan master picked up one coin. Light moved through its markings. "What is it called?" Naruto remembered another world. A harbor bright with lanterns, markets where every coin had been born from his power, a civilization that trusted currency because a god personally guaranteed its worth. "Mora," he said. The word felt dangerous. The caravan master turned the coin between his fingers. "And if the assay cannot redeem it, I will." "With what? Goods, labor, stone, or future revenue?" The treasury clerk looked alarmed. "You cannot personally guarantee the village spending." "I am not guaranteeing the village, I am guaranteeing these coins." "That is the same thing." "No." Naruto looked across the room. "If the treasury fails, the debt remains mine." Uruka stepped closer. "Naruto, we need supplies today. There must be another method." "There are several. None will work today." Uruka lowered his voice. "How many coins can you create?" Naruto looked at the stone basin. "Enough." It was a lie. The ring of Hiruzen's contract did not bind Naruto to universal honesty, but the golden ledger recognized the deception. The blank spaces inside it tightened. Naruto corrected himself. "I do not know." Uruka's expression hardened. "Then we stop." The merchants began arguing again. A woman near the back held a sleeping child whose cheeks had become hollow. Naruto remembered being 6, expired milk, empty cupboards, a village that possessed food but no system that considered his hunger urgent. He placed both hands against the basin. "Record every coin," he ordered the clerks. "Number, recipient, value, and redemption date." "Naruto," Uruka warned. "Begin." The stone divided. 10 coins became 20, 20 became 50. Each piece carried a fragment of Geo authority. Each became a claim upon him. The golden ledger filled. Naruto felt invisible lines spreading through the village as merchants accepted the coins. Every transaction added weight. Food entered Konoha. Mora moved from caravan masters to drivers, from drivers to inns, from inns to farmers, and from farmers back toward the Issei. Trust circulated faster than Ryo. Naruto continued minting. At 100 coins, his fingers went numb. At 200, gold light appeared beneath his skin. At 300, he tasted blood. Uruka seized his shoulder. "That is enough." Naruto tried to pull away. His legs failed. He would have struck the floor if Uruka had not caught him. The final coin rolled across the desk. Silence spread through the hole. Thin gray lines covered Naruto's fingertips. For several horrible seconds, they resembled stone. Then color returned. Naruto stared at his hands. He remembered the rule his previous life had learned too late. Authority was not free merely because its source seemed bottomless. A guarantee required a guarantor. Every Mora coin in circulation was backed by his Geo. If the village prospered, the coins would return gradually and the obligations would close. If it failed, the debt would come from him. Not his bank, not his office, his body. Chuchai placed a bowl of broth before him. Naruto could not lift the spoon. Uruka fed him without asking permission. Naruto was too tired to object. The emergency lasted 23 days. Every Mora coin was redeemed, not all for Ryo. Some merchants requested construction work. Naruto repaired warehouse foundations. Others accepted future Issei fees. One farmer exchanged the coins for certified transport contracts. The system worked. That was the problem. Success spread faster than caution. Other merchants began requesting Mora for ordinary business. Civilians trusted the stone coins more than paper notes because they could feel the guarantee inside them. Mission teams used Mora to divide rewards before official payments arrived. Naruto refused most requests. Some people became angry. "You created it for the Eastern merchants." "There was an emergency." "My business is an emergency to me." "That does not make it one to the village." "You decide what counts." The accusation followed him through the market. Naruto had built a system to make value visible. Now people believed he controlled value itself. At 12, he stood in the center of the market district while builders cleared a circular space around him. The Issei required a public place for announcements, certified auctions, and dispute hearings. Merchants had argued over its location for months. Naruto ended the argument by creating one. He placed his palm against the ground. This use of Geo carried no direct enforcement. It was construction, not punishment. Even so, he tied it to the market charter, a public space maintained for all registered traders, available equally under written scheduling rules. Stone rose, not violently. The earth folded upward in smooth rings. A circular platform formed from pale rock, 20 feet across and 3 feet high. 4 shallow steps appeared at each direction. The surface was flawless, no tool marks, no cracks. A simple scale symbol rested at its center. The entire construction took less than a minute. Naruto removed his hand. His knees trembled. Sakura Haruno, standing near the gathered academy students, noticed. Most people watched the stone. She watched Naruto hide his shaking fingers inside his pockets. Sasuke Uchiha watched too. His expression tightened. Naruto had once competed with him over everything. Test scores. Shuriken throws. Who reached the classroom first? Who received more attention? Now Naruto barely reacted when Sasuke surpassed him in taijutsu drills. He treated ranking as a measurement rather than a victory. Sasuke hated it. There was no satisfaction in defeating someone who declined to consider the contest important. Uruka climbed onto the completed dais. "The market charter will be read here tomorrow," he announced. Merchants applauded. Naruto looked around the district. Certified scales hung from stalls. Mora coins changed hands in limited numbers. Clerks carried ledgers between offices. People who once crossed the street to avoid him now called his name when they needed disputes settled. It should have felt like acknowledgement. Instead, Naruto wondered how many of them saw a person. And how many saw a guarantee. Far below the village, in a chamber without windows, another man examined the same question from the opposite direction. Danzo Shimura held a Mora coin between two fingers. A root operative knelt before him. "The seal cannot be copied," the operative reported. "Attempts to remove the gold veins destroy the guarantee. Can it be traced?" The assay records every issued coin. "Not what I asked." The operative lowered his head. "We believe Uzumaki consents active obligations connected to the coins, but the range is unknown." Danzo turned the Mora toward the candlelight. The stone was simple. The authority inside it was not. "A civilian banking system centered upon the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki," he said. "The Hawkage has permitted it. Hiruzen permits weeds because he fears damaging flowers." Danzo closed his hand around the coin. Its seal warmed. For an instant, he felt the promise within it, not loyalty, not obedience, an obligation. That distinction interested him. Can the boy use these contracts to command signatories? No evidence suggests that. Punish them. One debt collector suffered temporary paralysis after attempting to seize property protected by a registered stay. A merchant lost the use of his right hand for 3 days after altering a certified scale. Automatic enforcement. Yes. Danzo placed the Mora on a stone table. Then the boy has created law without the village's permission. The Hawkage signed his original agreement. Danzo's visible eye narrowed. Hiruzen signed terms with a child. The operative remained silent. Danzo studied the coin. Konoha's strength had always rested upon hidden agreements. Clan loyalty, military secrecy, sacrifice without public acknowledgement. The will of fire taught citizens to offer themselves for the village before asking what the village owed in return. Naruto Uzumaki was teaching them to keep receipts. That could not be allowed to continue unchecked. "Acquire copies of every statute concerning Jinchuriki custody," Danzo ordered. "Wartime authority, emergency requisition powers, orphan guardianship, military assets, and Hawkage succession." "Yes, Lord Danzo, do not approach the boy." The operative looked up. "Why?" Danzo picked up the Mora again. The guarantee pulsed beneath his fingers. "Because he is waiting for someone to attack the system directly." A thin smile touched the old man's scarred face. "So we will not attack his system." He closed his fist. "We will prove that it already belongs to Konoha." Chapter 4. Root and Fine Print. Danzo Shimura did not send assassins to the assay office. Assassins were simple. They entered through windows, poisoned cups, cut throats, and disappeared before sunrise. Even when successful, violence left questions behind. Who ordered it? Who benefited? What had the victim known? Naruto Uzumaki had built his influence by answering questions. Killing him would only make people ask more, so Danzo sent an auditor. The man arrived shortly after the morning market opened. He wore the gray robes of the Civil Administration Bureau and carried a lacquered case containing official seals. His forehead protector identified him as a Konoha shinobi, but the cloth beneath it showed no wear. Naruto noticed his hands first. No ink stains, no calluses from sorting documents. The supposed auditor carried himself like someone accustomed to concealing weapons beneath his sleeves. I.A.M. greeted him at the entrance. "Can I help you?" "I am here to inspect the Leaf Assay and Ledger House." "Do you have an appointment?" "This is an official review." "That wasn't my question." The man's expression tightened. I.A.M. smiled pleasantly. Naruto had taught every clerk the same rule. Urgency did not replace procedure. The auditor removed a folded document from his sleeve. I.A.M. examined the village seal. Then she looked toward Naruto. He sat at the central desk, reviewing a dispute involving two weapon suppliers and a box of rusted kunai. "Government inspection," IAM said, "scheduled." "No." "Reason?" the auditor answered before she could. "Concerns regarding the unauthorized creation of currency, unlawful enforcement of civilian agreements, possession of classified sealing information, and the operation of a private intelligence archive by a military asset of Kano Hagakure." The assay hall became quiet. Several customers looked toward the shelves. Naruto closed the kunai report. "Your name?" "Masuda. Department? Civil Administration. Supervisor?" "That information is unnecessary. Then the inspection will not begin." Masuda's mouth flattened. "You are refusing a lawful order?" "I am asking you to identify the authority issuing it." "The document bears the council seal." "Which council member requested the review?" "That is confidential." Naruto rose from his chair. At 12 years old, he no longer needed to look over most counters. His blonde hair remained untidy, and the orange clothing he preferred still made traditional shinobi instructors wince. But no one in the market mistook him for an ordinary academy student, not anymore. "An inspection requires a stated jurisdiction," Naruto said. "Civil administration may review business registration, employment records, taxes, and compliance with market standards. It may not examine private customer agreements without either the customer's consent or a specific warrant." Masuda placed the document on the desk. "This authorizes complete access." Naruto read it. The authorization was broad, too broad. It granted the bearer access to all documents, facilities, seals, assets, and personnel associated with activities that may affect the security of Kano Hagakure. Naruto read the final line. The order had been approved under emergency military authority. His eyes returned to the signature. Danzo Shimura. No title appeared beneath the name. That was deliberate. Danzo was neither Hokage nor head of civil administration. His official role on the village council gave him influence, but not the power to issue an emergency military order alone. Unless another law had been invoked, Naruto lifted the paper toward the light. A second seal had been embedded beneath the visible one. The ink was almost colorless. "Orphan guardianship," Naruto said. Masuda's expression did not change, but the muscles in his left wrist tightened. Naruto continued reading. The hidden seal connected the order to a wartime statute written during the Second Shinobi War. Under that law, the village could assume direct control over property operated by an orphan if that property presented a threat to military security. The statute had originally been written to prevent enemy agents from transferring land or weapons through children whose parents had died during wartime. Danzo was applying it to the assay. Clever. The office was legally Naruto's. Naruto was legally an orphan. The assay stored commercial information involving weapon suppliers, shinobi incomes, clan purchases, and transport routes. Under the broadest interpretation, its records could affect military security. Masuda held out his hand. "Your keys." "No." Several customers moved toward the exit. The door closed before they reached it. Two more officials had appeared outside. Neither wore masks. Neither needed to. Naruto recognized the stillness in their posture. Root. Danzo had not sent assassins. He had sent men whose violence had been given paperwork. Chuchai emerged from Ikaraku's kitchen holding a ladle. "What is happening?" "An attempted seizure," Naruto answered. Masuda's eyes hardened. "Your description is inflammatory." "Is it inaccurate?" "The village is assuming temporary administrative custody pending an investigation." "Will the office retain access to its accounts?" "No." "Will the clerks continue working?" "They will be questioned." "Will customer records be removed, if required?" "Will the assay remain open?" "That will be determined after the investigation." Naruto nodded once. "Then it is a seizure." Masuda reached for the keys attached to Naruto's belt. The floor beneath him gave a faint vibration. He stopped. Naruto had not attacked. No stone had risen. Yet everyone in the hall felt that the building had noticed the movement. Masuda withdrew his hand. You are obstructing village authority. I am requiring it to identify itself correctly. The auditor produced another paper. You are ordered to appear before the village council at noon. Naruto accepted the summons. And until then, the property will be secured. You may place guards outside. We will enter. No. Masuda's voice lowered. You believe your strange seals place you above Konoha's laws. No, I believe Konoha must obey its laws before demanding that I obey them. Masuda glanced at the root shinobi. The two men entered. Naruto did not move. The Asei's orphan clerks rose from their desks. Nami clutched a ledger to her chest. Kota stood in front of the shelves despite being barely 14. Sit down, Naruto told them. Neither obeyed. They're taking everything, Kota said. No, how do you know? Because they have not yet established the right. Masuda laughed without humor. Your confidence will not survive the council chamber. That is what the chamber is for. Naruto removed the ring of keys from his belt. He placed them on the desk. Chuchai stared at him. Naruto, the physical records are not worth anyone being injured. Masuda reached for the keys. Naruto covered them with one hand. I am not surrendering ownership. You are complying with an order. I am preventing violence while reserving every legal objection. I aim, record the exact time. She reached for the office ledger. Masuda looked at her sharply. No records will be created during the seizure. Naruto's eyes met his. That instruction has no legal basis. It is necessary to preserve the integrity of the investigation. You are attempting to prevent a witness from documenting your actions. Masuda's jaw tightened. Write it. Naruto told Iame. Her brush touched the page. One of the root shinobi moved toward her. Naruto lifted one finger. A narrow line formed in the stone floor. It stopped directly before the shinobi's sandal. No further, Naruto said. You are threatening an officer. I marked a boundary. And if I cross it, you remain physically capable of doing so. The root shinobi studied the line. Nothing prevented him from stepping across. There was no contract attached to it, no enforcement, only a child informing him that the next action would be remembered. He did not cross. Masuda collected the keys. This performance changes nothing. It has already changed your report, Naruto replied. You arrived expecting resistance. You received conditional compliance. Any claim that force was necessary will now be false. For the first time, Masuda looked uncertain. Naruto picked up his orange jacket. I will attend the council hearing. You will be escorted. Then your guards should try to keep up. Iruka found Naruto halfway to the Hokage Tower. He landed from a rooftop and immediately grabbed the boy by the shoulders. Are you hurt? No. I heard Root seized the Asei. Civil administration seized it under an orphan guardianship statute. Root seized it. Naruto considered the distinction. Practically, yes. Iruka released him. His expression carried enough anger for both of them. Hiruzen should never have allowed this. Lord Third may not know. He is the Hokage. That does not make him all-knowing. It makes him responsible. Yes. Naruto continued walking. Iruka followed. What are you going to do? Attend the hearing. That is not what I meant. It is what I am going to do. Danzo has spent longer in that council chamber than you have been alive. So has Lord Third. Danzo knows every emergency power Konoha possesses. Then I will learn them. Before noon. I read quickly. Iruka stepped in front of him. This is not an academy test. Danzo is dangerous. Naruto stopped. The market crowds flowed around them, I know. No, you know he is influential. You do not know what he does to people. Root! Iruka's eyes widened. Naruto lowered his voice. Children removed from records. Shinobi trained without names. Loyalty seals placed upon their tongues. How did you? Root purchased supplies through shell companies. The payments led to unregistered facilities. Iruka stared at him. You investigated Danzo? I investigated missing money. That is worse. I did not know the money was his when I began, and when you discovered it, I continued. Iruka looked toward the tower. Then this is not about currency? No, Danzo had tolerated the Asei while it solved civilian disputes. He had watched when Naruto standardized the market. He had investigated the Mora. But the Asei's ledgers had begun revealing where Konoha's hidden money went. Root was invisible only because no one kept all its receipts in one place. Naruto had done so accidentally. Now Danzo intended to take the ledgers, claim the Mora system, and place Naruto under direct military custody before the boy became a full shinobi with formal rights. The timing was not accidental. Graduation examinations were less than 2 months away. If Danzo succeeded, Naruto might never be permitted to take them. "I am coming with you," Iruka said. "You were not summoned. I am your academy instructor. That does not grant standing. I am also an adult who cares whether you disappear into a basement." Naruto looked at him. Iruka's concern carried no seal, no payment, no enforceable obligation beyond his ordinary duties. Naruto nodded. "You may attend as an observer if the council permits it." "That is the closest thing to gratitude I am getting, isn't it?" For now. They reached the Hawkage Tower together. The council chamber had been designed to make everyone except the Hawkage feel small. Tiered seats curved around a central floor of dark, polished stone. Clan representatives occupied the lower rows. Civil administrators sat above them. Military advisors sat nearest the raised platform where Hiruzen presided. Danzo waited at the Hawkage's right. His body was wrapped in bandages beneath a dark robe. One arm remained hidden. A seal covered his tongue, though only Naruto and a handful of others knew it existed. Hamura Mitokado and Koharu Utatane sat beside him. Several clan heads attended. Hayashi Hyuga, Shikaku Nara, Chozora Kimichi, Inoichi Yamanaka, representatives from the Aburame and Inuzuka clans. Chuchai and Iame waited in the civilian gallery beside the assay clerks. Sakura Haruno stood near Iruka. Her parents operated a small civilian business and had submitted transactions through the assay. Sasuke Uchiha stood farther back, technically present as the surviving head of his clan. He looked irritated by the attention. Naruto entered the center of the chamber. No chair had been provided for him. He remained standing. Hiruzen's expression was unreadable. "This hearing concerns the legal status of the Leaf Assay and Ledger House," he said. "The circulation of Mora and the authority under which Naruto Uzumaki has created and enforced civilian guarantees." Danzo's visible eye rested on Naruto. Not only civilian guarantees. Naruto waited. Danzo placed several documents on the central table. "The assay has recorded military purchases, shinobi income, weapon shipments, clan property transfers, and mission-related transportation. Because those parties submitted the agreements voluntarily," Naruto said, "your office now possesses enough information to predict Konoha's supply weaknesses. So does the Treasury. The Treasury answers to the Hawkage. The assay answers to its registered charter, a charter drafted by a child, approved by the Hawkage." Every head turned slightly toward Hiruzen. Danzo had expected Naruto to defend himself alone. Naruto would not allow him to separate the village from decisions its leader had made. Danzo continued. "You have also issued currency without treasury authorization. Mora is not official currency. It is exchanged for goods. So are promissory notes, clan tokens, merchant vouchers, and mission credits. Mora carries supernatural enforcement. It carries my guarantee, which is precisely the danger." Danzo descended from the platform. He moved slowly, forcing the chamber to wait for him. "You claim each coin is backed by your personal authority, yet your authority originates from the Ninetales sealed inside you." "No." A murmur passed through the chamber. Danzo stopped. "Explain." "Geo authority and the Ninetales chakra are separate." "Can you prove that?" "Yes." Naruto lifted an ordinary stone from the chamber floor. It rose into his hand without red chakra appearing around him. Danzo watched closely. "A display proves nothing," he said. "The Hyuga representative may examine my chakra network while I repeat it." Hayashi's eyes narrowed. Hiruzen looked toward him. "Will you?" Hayashi activated the Byakugan. Veins rose beside his eyes. Naruto placed the stone down. He lifted it again. No chakra traveled through his tenketsu. The Geo authority responded from somewhere deeper, connected to obligations rather than his physical chakra network. Hayashi's expression changed. "The boy speaks truthfully," he said. "Whatever moved the stone was not the Nine-Tails chakra." Danzo accepted the setback without visible frustration. "Then we possess an unknown power inside the village Jinchuriki." "Inside a citizen," Naruto corrected. "Jinchuriki are military assets. Under which law?" Danzo placed a scroll on the table. "The Jinchuriki Custodial Security Act, enacted during the First Shinobi War." A clerk opened the scroll. Danzo recited from memory. "Any individual containing a tailed beast shall remain under the direct security authority of the sitting Hokage and may be subject to restrictions necessary for village survival." Naruto had never seen the law. The Chapter 1 contract required the village to answer threats concerning his legal status. Yet no one had informed him of this statute. He looked at Hiruzen. The stone ring around the Hokage's finger turned cold, not warm, cold enough that frost formed against his skin. Hiruzen looked down. The contract had recognized an omission. "Was this law intentionally withheld from me?" Naruto asked. Hiruzen's face tightened. "I did not know Danzo intended to invoke it." "That was not my question." The chamber became completely silent. Hiruzen could lie, the contract did not remove his will. But everyone present had seen the frost. "I knew the statute existed," Hiruzen admitted. "I did not consider it applicable to your present circumstances." "Did you decide it was unnecessary to tell me?" "Yes." The ring warmed again, not punishment, acknowledgement. Naruto felt anger rise. He placed it aside for later. Danzo observed the exchange with interest. "Your private arrangement with Hiruzen does not supersede village law." "It is not private." Naruto reached into his jacket. Danzo's visible eye narrowed. Naruto removed a wrapped stone tablet. Hiruzen inhaled sharply. The original remained secured in the Hokage's office. This was Naruto's copy. He placed it on the central table. Golden words filled the chamber with faint light. "The agreement binds the office of Hokage and the village authority acting beneath it," Naruto said. "It was signed after the Custodial Security Act. Therefore, it defines how that older authority may be used in my case." Danzo read the terms. "You were 6. "Yes. A child cannot consent to a binding military agreement. A child can be made into a Jinchuriki." The question struck the chamber like a thrown blade. Several clan representatives looked away. Danzo did not. "Your condition was created during an immediate emergency." "Then the emergency exception applies to the ceiling, not to every decision made about me afterward." "You lack legal capacity." "Then the village lacked legal authority to demand my signature." Danzo's mouth tightened. Naruto continued. "If I lacked capacity, the contract is void. If the contract is void, every obligation I accepted under it is also void, including my promise not to deliberately release the Nine-Tails." Red chakra did not appear. Naruto did not threaten to release Kurama. He simply allowed the legal consequence to stand in the room. Hiruzen rose. "The contract is valid." Danzo looked toward him. "You would allow a child's agreement to restrict Konoha's survival?" "I signed it as Hokage." "You signed from guilt." "I signed with full understanding." Danzo's gaze returned to Naruto. "Even valid contracts may be suspended during war or emergency. Konoha is not at war. An emergency need not be public." "Then identify it." "I am not required to disclose classified intelligence in an open chamber." "You are required to identify enough of the threat to justify suspending civil protections." "The existence of an uncontrollable divine authority within a Jinchuriki is sufficient. It has existed for 6 years. We discovered its scale recently." "When?" Danzo placed a damaged report on the table. 3 days ago, one of your assay seals paralyzed a village operative." Naruto read the report. It concerned the debt collector who had attempted to seize property protected by a registered stay. The incident had happened nearly 4 years earlier. The date had been altered. The evidence is false. Danzo's voice remained calm. "You accuse a council member of forgery?" "Yes." Masuda stepped from the side of the chamber. I verified the report. Naruto looked at him. You were not employed by civil administration when the incident occurred. Masuda's expression hardened. Records may be reviewed later. The original collector was named Taro Genda. He filed the incident with the civilian court. His report states temporary numbness in 2 fingers after touching a protected seal. Naruto pointed at Danzo's document. This version claims complete paralysis, loss of speech, and an attempted coercion of loyalty. You cannot know every archived report. I wrote the original incident summary. Danzo's visible eye narrowed. Naruto opened a small ledger. I keep copies. A quiet sound came from Shikaku Nara. It might have been amusement. Danzo's case had depended upon controlling the documents. Naruto's entire system had been designed to prevent that. Koharu leaned toward the report. Summon the original court record. A clerk hurried from the chamber. Danzo did not wait. Even if the report contains errors, the underlying issue remains. The boy's seals punish citizens automatically. They enforce agreed terms, Naruto said, without trial. Only when the agreement defines enforcement. You have established a private court. No, I establish consequences accepted by signatories. Consequences you control. I do not select them after a breach. Danzo moved closer. That makes them worse. For the first time, Naruto heard something beyond strategy in the old man's voice, belief. Danzo truly despised the idea of automatic consequences, not because he feared injustice, because his life depended upon authorities deciding when rules applied. Konoha survives through discretion, Danzo said. Commanders must act before civilians understand the danger. Secrets must be kept. Orders must be obeyed. Sacrifices must be made by those who may never receive an explanation. That is not discretion, Naruto replied. It is unrecorded debt. It is duty. Duty accepted freely has value. Duty does not require acceptance. Then it is ownership. The word spread through the chamber. Danzo turned toward the clan representatives. This is what his system teaches. Every sacrifice must be priced, every order negotiated, every secret confessed to those too weak to bear it. No, Naruto said. It teaches that power must remember what it takes. You would paralyze the village with accounting. You would excuse anything by calling it necessary. Danzo faced him again. And when necessary action cannot wait for your consent, then act. Naruto's answer surprised him. If the danger is real, act. Save the village. Break the agreement. Naruto placed one hand upon the stone tablet, then pay the stated price. The golden letters brightened. Danzo stared at them. You want leaders afraid to make difficult choices. I want them unable to pretend the choice cost only someone else. Hiruzen closed his eyes. The words reached him more deeply than anyone else in the chamber. The clerk returned carrying an archived case file. Koharu compared it to Danzo's report. Her expression darkened. The date has been altered. Hamura read over her shoulder. So has the medical description. Danzo showed no reaction. Hiruzen looked toward Masuda. Who provided you with the modified record? Masuda's mouth opened. Nothing emerged. His tongue seal activated. Black markings spread across his lips. The chamber erupted in alarm. Masuda collapsed to his knees, clutching his throat. Inoichi Yamanaka stepped forward, a silent seal. Danzo's voice became cold. The man has been compromised. Naruto looked at Masuda. The seal on the supposed auditor's tongue was connected to Danzo's authority. It prevented Root members from revealing information about the organization. The modified report had not merely been submitted by Danzo. Root had manufactured it. Hiruzen descended from the platform. This hearing is suspended pending? No, Danzo said. Every eye turned toward him. His visible hand emerged from his robe holding a second scroll. Under wartime continuity law, I assume emergency custody of the Jinchuriki until the threat is contained. Hiruzen's killing intent filled the chamber. We are not at war. The law allows activation in the presence of an existential village threat. You do not possess authority to invoke it. As the last active commander appointed under the Second War Security Council, Shikaku stood. That council was dissolved. The dissolution was never ratified by all surviving members. Hamura's face went pale. Danzo had found a law beneath a law beneath a law. He unrolled the scroll. Names filled the bottom. Dead commanders, retired officials. Emergency powers preserved because no one had bothered to close them properly. Root shinobi entered every doorway. The civilian observers recoiled. Chuchai stepped in front of Iame and the clerks. Sasuke's hand moved toward his kunai pouch. Uruka positioned himself between Naruto and the nearest root agent. Hiruzen's voice became deadly. "Stand down, Danzo. I am preserving Konoha. You are attempting a coup. I am using authority your softness left available." Danzo pointed toward Naruto. "Take him, seize the assay records, apply a suppression formula to his seal, and remove every Mora guarantee from circulation." The stone tablet flared. Naruto's stomach turned cold. The Chapter 1 agreement prohibited the village from altering or interfering with his seal without informed consent, except during an immediate threat to life. Danzo had fabricated the threat. He had ordered direct interference. He had used village authority to do it. The breach was clear. Danzo looked at Naruto. For the first time he smiled. "Let us test your divine law." The root shinobi moved. Naruto did not raise his hands. He did not summon a wall. He did not create a spear. He merely said, "You were warned." The tablet rang. A single golden note filled the chamber. The tongue seal inside Danzo activated. His smile vanished. Black markings spread from beneath his jaw. They climbed over his mouth, crossed his bandages, and wrapped around his throat. Danzo reached for the seal. His fingers stopped before touching it. The markings hardened, not into flesh, into stone. He attempted to speak. No sound emerged. The root shinobi froze. Their tongue seals ignited in response to their commander's breach. But instead of silencing them, the flow reversed. Every secret Danzo had forced them to contain pressed against the seals at once. The agents collapsed. Some screamed. Others began speaking uncontrollably. Training facility beneath the northern forest. Children taken from the orphan registry. Uchiha surveillance authorized without Hokage approval. Funds diverted through medical procurement. Danzo struck his own throat. The stone spread over his lower face. It did not kill him. The contract's penalty matched the breach. He had used silence to fabricate authority. He had concealed the truth to seize another person's voice and choice, so silence became his. Hiruzen stared at his oldest rival. Danzo's visible eye burned with hatred. Naruto felt the ledger's enforcement moving through the chamber. It wanted to continue. More root seals, more punishments, more hidden agreements connected to Danzo's authority. The network was enormous. If Naruto allowed it to spread, every root operative in Konoha might be exposed in minutes. Some would die when years of suppression collapsed. The organization could be destroyed before sunset. Naruto closed his hand around the tablet. Enough. The golden light dimmed. The spreading marks stopped. Danzo remained alive. Stone covered his mouth and throat, leaving him conscious but unable to speak. The root agents lay scattered across the floor. Naruto's breathing became uneven. The enforcement had not required an exuvia, but it had drawn through every active obligation connected to the village contract. For a moment, the weight nearly crushed him. Sakura noticed first. She stepped forward as Naruto's knees weakened. Uruka caught him before she reached him. "I'm fine." Naruto said, "You always say that when you are not." Hiruzen looked toward the remaining root shinobi. Disarm. No one moved. The Hokage's chakra shook the chamber. That was not a request. Weapons struck the floor. Anbu appeared along the upper walls. This time, they wore the Hokage's command markings. Danzo stood in the center of the chamber, unable to issue orders. Hiruzen faced him. "You invoked dissolved authority, falsified records, concealed military forces inside a civil hearing, and attempted to interfere with the Nine-Tails seal." Danzo glared. "You are removed from the council pending investigation. Root operations are suspended. Every facility will be open to Hokage inspection." The stone around Danzo's mouth prevented even a laugh. Hiruzen turned toward Naruto. Can the penalty be removed? Yes. Several council members looked alarmed. Naruto continued, when the breach is remedied. What does that require? Withdrawal of the custody order, return of the assay property, destruction of every copy of the fabricated report, full disclosure of the authority used to issue the order. He looked at Danzo, and voluntary dissolution of the tongue seals placed on root members. Danzo's eye widened. He could regain his voice, but only by giving voices back to the people he controlled. The punishment was not permanent. The choice remained his. That was worse. Koharu stared at Naruto. You could do this to anyone. No! The fear in the chamber shifted toward him. Naruto felt it. The same merchants who trusted his seals now imagined golden letters around their throats. The clan representatives considered how many private agreements might become weapons. Even people who supported him wondered what would happen if they angered him. Naruto stepped away from the tablet. I cannot bind anyone who has not freely accepted terms. What about Danzo? Hamura asked. He did not sign your tablet. He acted through the authority of the village. Naruto pointed toward Hiruzen's signature. The sitting Hokage bound that authority. Any official may refuse to act through it. Danzo could have challenged the agreement in court. He could have requested amendment. He could have resigned his office and acted only as a private citizen. Naruto looked at the root commander. He chose to use village power while rejecting the limits attached to it. Hayashi folded his arms, and the root agents? Their seals were linked to his authority. The reversal traveled through terms they did not freely accept. Then why did it affect them? Because it broke the coercive seals. It did not create a new obligation. Naruto's voice hardened. Understand this clearly. I cannot make anyone loyal. I cannot make anyone honest. I cannot force remorse. Gyo binds actions, not wills. He looked around the chamber. If I threaten someone until they sign, the divine penalty is void. If I conquer a clan and demand obedience, their agreement gives me nothing. If I place a blade against your throat and offer a choice, there is no contract. Shikaku's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. So your power depends upon consent. Yes, that makes it weaker than people fear. Naruto looked at Danzo. It makes it stronger only where trust already exists. The silence that followed was different, less fearful, not comfortable, but informed. Hiruzen returned to the Hokage's platform. The seizure order is void, he announced. All assay property will be returned immediately. The office will remain subject to ordinary civilian review under its existing charter. Naruto raised one hand, one amendment. Hiruzen looked down. Civilian review may inspect taxes, registration, wages, safety compliance, and certified measures. Customer agreements require consent or a warrant from an authority not involved in the dispute. Shikaku nodded. Reasonable. Koharu reluctantly agreed. Hiruzen looked toward Naruto. Accepted. A new line carved itself into the tablet. Naruto felt the agreement settle. Danzo watched it happen. Hatred remained in his visible eye, but beneath it existed something else, recognition. He had believed Naruto's enforcement was a trick, a seal, a bluff dependent upon fear. Now he understood. The law had weight. And unlike Hiruzen, it did not become sentimental when the person breaking it was an old friend. The assay reopened before sunset. Nothing had been stolen. Several shelves had been disturbed, and one ledger had been torn when a root agent collapsed. The clerks repaired it with thread and glue. Chuchai served free ramen to everyone who helped restore the office. Naruto objected. You cannot afford to give away 23 bowls. I can afford 22. What about the final bowl? Chuchai placed it in front of him. That one is mine to give. Naruto accepted it. Uruka sat beside him. Sakura and Sasuke occupied stools farther down the counter. Neither had been invited, but neither left. For several minutes, only the sound of eating filled the shop. Then Sakura spoke. Could you really have punished the whole council? Naruto paused. No, you said officials using village authority were bound. They are bound only while acting through authority covered by the contract. What does that mean? If a council member lies to me as a private person, the tablet does nothing. Sasuke glanced toward him. And if they order shinobi to kill you? The result depends on the authority used, the reason, and whether the order violates an accepted term. That sounds uncertain. It is, Sasuke frowned. You built a power you cannot fully control. Naruto looked into his bowl. No, I inherited a power I cannot fully control. It was the first time he had admitted the distinction aloud. Iruka watched him carefully. Sakura looked toward Naruto's hands. They were trembling again. She had noticed it after the market dais, after minting Mora, after the council enforcement. "You're tired," she said. "I am eating." "That isn't what I said." Naruto tightened his grip on the chopsticks until the shaking stopped. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. He had seen it too. Naruto disliked the attention. He changed the subject. "Graduation examinations are approaching." Iruka groaned. "You still need to pass the standard clone technique. The standard is poorly designed. The standard is the standard. My chakra capacity makes the technique inefficient. Then practice." "I have been practicing. Practice more." Naruto looked offended. Chuchai laughed. The sound loosened something inside the shop. Outside, workers removed the temporary seals Danzo's agents had placed on the doors. Across the village, Anbu teams entered hidden route facilities. Danzo remained under guard. The stone around his mouth had not receded. He had withdrawn the custody order and returned the assay property. The fabricated report had been destroyed, but he had not released the root tongue seals. He had chosen silence rather than surrender control. Naruto understood the decision. He did not respect it. The Golden Ledger recorded the unresolved breach as an open account. One day, the debt would return. For now, Naruto ate ramen surrounded by people who had entered the council chamber without being compelled to do so. Iruka had come because he feared Naruto would disappear. Chuchai had stood in front of Iame. Sakura had moved when Naruto nearly fell. Sasuke had reached for a weapon despite insisting he cared about no one. None of them had signed anything. The realization should have comforted Naruto. Instead, it frightened him. A contract could be measured. A free choice could vanish tomorrow. Naruto looked through Ikaraku's open doorway at the assay symbol hanging above the neighboring office. He had spent years constructing a world in which promises could not be erased by power. Yet the strongest moments of the day had come from people who possessed no obligation to stand beside him. He did not know how to account for that. From deep within his seal, the Ninetales opened one red eye. "You are finally learning," the fox murmured. Naruto did not answer aloud. He finished his ramen. 2 months later, he would graduate from the academy. He would be placed on a team with a boy who refused to need anyone and a girl who saw exhaustion he wished to hide. Their first mission beyond Konoha's walls would lead them to a country owned by debt. There, Naruto would discover that contracts could free people, and that a perfect agreement could still become another kind of chain. Chapter 5. The Jade Shield Standard. Naruto failed the graduation exam because he could not create a proper clone. This surprised no one except the merchants of Konoha. The academy instructors had watched him raise stone from the ground, certify contracts with glowing seals, and embarrass one of the village's most dangerous council members in open court. None of those abilities changed the graduation requirements. A student needed to demonstrate the clone technique. Naruto produced 3 pale copies that looked half-dead and collapsed upon contact with the floor. Iruka stared at them. Naruto stared at Iruka. The technique is inefficient. The technique is required. My chakra network is disrupted by the Nine-Tails seal. The exam cannot change for one student. It changed for Sasuke during the weapons section. Sasuke had an injured wrist. I have a tailed beast inside my abdomen. Iruka pinched the bridge of his nose. The other instructors avoided looking amused. Naruto folded his arms. Permit me to demonstrate an equivalent skill. There is no equivalent section. I can create independent stone constructs. Can they disguise themselves as you? No. Can they infiltrate? No. Can they gather information and return it? No. Then they are not clones. Naruto looked toward the unconscious copies on the floor. Neither are those. Iruka closed his eyes. You fail. Naruto did not shout. He did not demand another attempt. He collected his things, left the examination hall, and returned to the assay office. That reaction worried Iruka far more than anger would have. It worried Mizuki too. The silver-haired instructor approached Naruto that evening beneath the pretense of sympathy. By midnight, Naruto had located a restricted scroll Mizuki claimed could provide an alternate graduation technique. By 1 in the morning, Naruto had recognized that Mizuki's explanation contained 6 legal impossibilities, 3 historical errors, and 1 very obvious attempt to make a child commit treason. Naruto copied the first technique anyway. Then he notified Iruka. Mizuki's arrest was disappointingly quick. The forbidden scroll contained the multi-shadow clone technique. Unlike the standard illusionary clone, it divided the user's chakra into physical bodies. Naruto's enormous and unstable reserves made the technique dangerous, but possible. He created 30 clones. 22 began reviewing copied assay documents, 4 cleaned his apartment, 3 tested ramen recipes with Chuchai. The final clone attended the rescheduled examination. Iruka passed him before the demonstration ended. Naruto received his forehead protector the next morning. The metal plate represented recognized shinobi status. It also represented formal military jurisdiction. Naruto read every relevant statute before putting it on. Team 7 assembled 2 days later. Kakashi Hatake arrived nearly 3 hours late. Sakura Haruno spent the first hour attempting to speak to Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha spent the same hour ignoring her. Naruto spent it examining the emergency exit, classroom foundation, and ceiling structure. When Kakashi finally appeared in the doorway, he looked at the 3 students and sighed. "My first impression," he said, "is that you are all unpleasant." Naruto looked at the clock. "You are 168 minutes late. I was helping an elderly woman." "No, you were reading on the eastern roof." Kakashi's visible eyes shifted toward him. Naruto pointed at the dust on his sandals. "Red clay from the academy's eastern drainage tiles. The western roof was repaired last month and has darker stone. You also smell faintly of ink and cedar oil, which matches the binding treatment used on your book." Sakura covered a laugh. Sasuke's mouth moved slightly. Kakashi closed his book. "You must be Naruto. You reviewed our files?" "I did." "Then that statement was unnecessary." Kakashi stared at him. "I already miss being late." The survival exercise occurred the following morning. Kakashi expected Team 7 to pursue the bells individually. Sasuke did. Sakura attempted to assist Sasuke. Naruto walked to the center of the training field, placed a folding table on the grass, and opened a ledger. Kakashi watched from a tree. "What are you doing?" "Waiting for the other 2 to fail independently." Sasuke's fireball exploded in the forest. Sakura screamed after encountering one of Kakashi's illusions. Naruto turned a page. "You do not intend to participate?" Kakashi asked. "The exercise tests teamwork." Kakashi's eye narrowed. "What makes you think that? You brought 2 bells for 3 students. A competition? No, an incentive to betray one another." Kakashi appeared behind him. Naruto did not turn. "The written rules say whoever fails to obtain a bell returns to the academy," Naruto continued. "But no academy regulation allows a Jonin instructor to dismiss a graduate based on an unscheduled private test. Therefore, the stated penalty is false." Kakashi's eye curved. "Perhaps I have special authority. Then show it." "No. Then I do not recognize it." Kakashi placed a kunai near Naruto's neck. Still waiting, Naruto looked at the blade. "A threat does not improve your position. It might improve your speed. It would void any agreement obtained through it." "We do not have an agreement." "Correct." Naruto closed the ledger. "That is why threatening me accomplishes nothing." Kakashi moved the kunai away. Sasuke attacked from the trees. Sakura followed. For the next 15 minutes, Team 7 fought badly together, then they fought slightly less badly. Naruto used stone ridges to redirect Kakashi's movement rather than trap him. Sasuke anticipated the angles. Sakura identified the instant Kakashi's attention shifted between them. They did not take the bells. They did force Kakashi to use both hands. When the exercise ended, Naruto placed the bells on the table. Kakashi looked down. "When did you take those?" "I did not." Sakura blinked. "They're fake." "Stone replicas." Kakashi lifted one. It crumbled. "You distracted me with counterfeit property." "I tested whether you verified what you possessed." Sasuke looked annoyed. "You still didn't win." Naruto faced him. "The objective was not to win." "You always say that when you lose." "No, I say it when winning is irrelevant." Sasuke's hands tightened. Kakashi watched the exchange carefully. Sasuke wanted competition. Naruto refused to grant him one. It was a conflict Kakashi understood would become dangerous later. For now, he passed all three. Their first missions involved weeds, missing animals, fence repairs, and one elderly woman who believed genin existed primarily to carry her purchases. Naruto completed them without complaint. Sasuke complained silently. Sakura complained for both of them. The assay office continued operating while Naruto worked. Shadow clones reviewed documents, but Naruto refused to let them make final judgments. Copies shared his memories, not his moral authority. When Team 7 received its first escort mission, Naruto examined the client before the man finished introducing himself. Tazuna smelled of alcohol, salt water, cedar, and fear. His clothes had been repaired many times. His hands showed calluses from measuring wood and stone. The official mission form described him as a poor bridge builder requiring protection from bandits. Naruto placed the form on Hiruzen's desk. "This is false." Tazuna froze. Sakura looked embarrassed. "We just met him," she whispered. "The mission classification is based on inaccurate threat information," Naruto said. Kakashi's eyes shifted toward Tazuna. Hiruzen exhaled smoke from his pipe. "What did you observe?" "His coat contains a concealed seam sized for emergency money. It is empty. He has traveled through 3 checkpoints but possesses only 1 stamped receipt, meaning he avoided official roads. He is not afraid of ordinary bandits. He watches shinobi weapons, not doorways." Tazuna looked away. Naruto continued. "His bridge affects trade. Someone with financial interests is preventing construction." Hiruzen looked toward the client. Tazuna, the bridge builder, remained silent. Naruto waited. Eventually, the man's shoulders fell. "Wave Country is controlled by a shipping magnate named Gato." Kakashi's posture changed. Gato was publicly known as a wealthy businessman. Shinobi intelligence knew him as something else. "He controls the sea routes," Tazuna said. "Our island can't import or export without him. Prices keep rising. Anyone who resists disappears." "And the bridge?" Sakura asked. "It would connect Wave directly to the mainland, destroying his transport monopoly," Naruto said. Tazuna nodded. "I could only afford a low-ranked mission." Hiruzen's expression hardened. "You knowingly placed genin in danger." "I placed my whole country in danger by leaving home." Naruto studied him. Tazuna had lied, but the lie had not been designed to profit. It had been designed to purchase help that honest pricing placed beyond his reach. Another system in which the poor paid more for being powerless. Naruto looked at Kakashi. "Can Team 7 complete the mission?" "Yes." "Without unacceptable risk?" Kakashi considered the question. "That depends on who Gato hired." "So does every escort mission." Kakashi's eye curved faintly. "True." Hiruzen looked at Naruto. "You are not required to accept a mission submitted under false information." "No." Naruto turned toward Tazuna. "Rewrite the agreement." The bridge builder blinked. "What?" "State the actual threat. State that Wave Country cannot pay the proper rate now." Naruto placed a blank mission form before him. "Payment will be deferred until the bridge becomes operational. The assay will guarantee Team 7's basic mission fee." Sakura stared at him. "You're paying us?" "No, Wave will pay later, and if it can't, the debt becomes mine." Kakashi's visible eye sharpened. "You have been warned about unnecessary guarantees. This one is necessary." "To whom?" Naruto looked at Tazuna. to people who were never offered a fair price for survival. Tazuna signed. Hiruzen amended the mission classification. Team 7 departed the next morning. The demon brothers attacked before they reached Wave Country. Naruto detected them because the puddle on the road contained water during a dry week. Sasuke detected them because Naruto slowed down. Kakashi detected them before either student and allowed the ambush to proceed as a test. Naruto disliked tests that used children as bait. He informed Kakashi afterward. The Jonin promised to note the objection. Naruto requested the promise in writing. Kakashi changed the subject. Zabuza Mamachi appeared near the water less than a day later. The missing nin carried an enormous blade and enough killing intent to make Sakura stop breathing. Naruto felt the assassin before he saw him. Not through chakra, through debt. The man's clothing had been repaired with missed military thread. His sword had changed owners several times but remained registered in old trade seals. The paper hidden inside his sleeve carried fresh ink and a payment schedule, a mercenary contract. Zabuza attacked. The battle moved too quickly for ordinary negotiation. Kakashi's techniques tore across the water. Zabuza trapped him inside a water prison. Sasuke and Naruto coordinated without discussing it. Naruto raised a stone ridge beneath Zabuza's footing. Sasuke used the change in angle to attack the arm maintaining the prison. Naruto's shadow clones transformed into weapons. Sasuke threw the real weapon among them. Kakashi escaped. The fight ended when masked needles struck Zabuza's neck. A hunter nin appeared in the trees, small, calm, wearing a mask. Naruto watched the masked figure carry Zabuza away. He said nothing. Later, while Kakashi recovered, Naruto placed a stone marker where the mercenary had fallen. Sasuke leaned against a tree nearby. "He's alive," Naruto said. Sasuke looked toward him. The masked hunter missed every major artery. "You noticed?" "Yes, so did Kakashi." Their teacher remained unconscious. Naruto looked toward the forest. "The hunter wanted us to believe the contract had ended." Sasuke frowned. "You make everything sound like business. Assassination is business when someone pays for it. And if they kill for revenge, then the payment is emotional. That is not business." "No, but the person still believes a debt exists." Sasuke's gaze hardened. Naruto knew he had touched something dangerous. He did not press further. Wave Country appeared poor from a distance. Up close, it was being systematically emptied. Fishing boats lay unused because Gato's tolls exceeded the value of their catch. Warehouses stood full beside homes without food. Farmers grew crops, but could not transport them without paying fees to the same company that purchased them at reduced prices. Gato had not conquered the country with soldiers. He had purchased its movement. Naruto spent the first evening in Tazuna's home reading receipts. Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, brought him tea. "You should rest." "I am resting. You've been reading for 3 hours. I am sitting." "That is not the same thing." Sakura, seated nearby, pointed at him. "I've been saying that for years." Naruto ignored both of them. Gato's system was not complicated. That was what made it effective. He loaned money to fishermen for boats. He controlled the docks where the boats unloaded. He owned the warehouses where fish were stored. He set transport fees. When fishermen failed to pay, he seized their boats. Then he rented the same boats back to them. Every stage created another debt. Tazuna placed a box of documents beside Naruto. "These belong to my son-in-law." Inari, Tazuna's grandson, left the room. The boy had barely spoken since Team 7 arrived. Naruto opened the box. The papers belonged to Kaiza, a man executed by Gato for resisting his control. Among them were public petitions, repair receipts, lists of missing fishermen, and a partial copy of Gato's local lending register. Naruto read until dawn. Sakura fell asleep at the table. When she woke, she found Naruto still sitting there. A thin line of blood ran from one nostril. "You're doing it again." Naruto wiped the blood away. "Doing what?" "Pretending you're not tired." "I am not pretending. You have blood on your face." "That does not prove fatigue. It proves something is wrong." Naruto returned to the ledger. Sakura grabbed the page. He looked up. She did not release it. "You nearly collapsed after making the market dais," she said. "You nearly collapsed in the council chamber. You mint those coins until your hands turn gray, and every time someone asks, you say you're fine. The obligations are manageable. That isn't an answer. It is the relevant answer. To you," Naruto's expression hardened. Sakura swallowed but continued. "You decide whether everyone else's promises are fair. Who decides when you're promising too much?" Naruto looked at her fingers on the paper. "No one." "That's the problem." Sasuke stood in the doorway. He had heard enough to understand the argument. "Naruto won't stop," he said. Sakura turned. "You're helping." "No," Sasuke looked at Naruto. "He likes people owing him." The words struck harder than Sakura's concern. Naruto became very still. Sasuke continued. "They used to ignore you. Now merchants wait for your judgment. The Hokage signs your contracts. People carry coins with your seal." Sakura frowned. "That's not fair." "It's true." Naruto closed the ledger. "You believe I created the assay for attention. I believe you say you don't care about recognition while building an entire system around your name." Silence filled the room. Naruto could have answered easily. He could have listed the disputes resolved, workers paid, fraud prevented, and food supplied. All of those things were true. They did not make Sasuke entirely wrong. Every Mora coin bore Naruto's seal. Every guarantee reminded the holder that Naruto Uzumaki could not be ignored. The starving 6-year-old had found a way to make the world acknowledge him. He had simply made the acknowledgement useful. Naruto stood. "I will sleep for 2 hours." Sakura released the ledger. Sasuke looked almost disappointed. He had expected an argument. Naruto walked past him. "You still haven't answered," Sasuke said. "No," Naruto stopped at the stairs. "But I heard you." Haku entered the house that night, not as a masked hunter, as a silent attacker carrying needles. Naruto opened his eyes before the first weapon left Haku's hand. A stone shield rose between the needle and Tazuna. Sasuke attacked from the side. Haku retreated through the window. Naruto followed. They met in the forest beneath pale moonlight. Haku removed the hunter mask. He looked close to Naruto's age, though older by several years. "You knew," Haku said. "Yes." "Why did you allow us to leave? You were protecting Zabuza?" "That is not an answer." "I had no obligation to kill an unconscious enemy." Haku's eyes narrowed. "You are protecting the bridge builder." "Yes." "Then we are enemies, under your current contract." Haku's needles shifted between his fingers. Naruto held up one empty hand. "Who employed Zabuza?" "You know who." "Gato." Haku remained silent. "What payment did he promise?" "That does not concern you. It concerns whether you are acting under an enforceable agreement." Haku moved. The needles came from 3 directions. Naruto raised a curved wall of stone. Haku changed position faster than Naruto expected and appeared behind him. A needle touched Naruto's neck. Naruto did not move. Haku's hand trembled. "You could kill me," Naruto said. "Yes. You do not want to." "That is irrelevant." "No, it is the only part that matters." Haku's gaze hardened. "I am Zabuza's tool. Tools do not choose where to place needles. I exist to fulfill his purpose." "Did you choose that purpose?" Haku pressed the needle closer. Blood formed at Naruto's skin. "He saved me." "That creates gratitude, not ownership. You know nothing about us." "Then explain." Haku's eyes flashed with anger. Naruto waited. The needle did not move. Eventually, Haku lowered it. "Zabuza gave me a reason to live." "That has value." "My life belongs to him." "No," the answer came gently. Haku's hand tightened. "You would insult the bond between us?" "I am distinguishing a gift from a purchase." Naruto looked toward the dark trees. "If Zabuza saved you so you would become his possession, then he purchased a weapon." "He did not." "Then your life remains yours." Haku's expression wavered. Naruto continued, "You may choose to spend it for him." "That is different." Haku stared at the needle in his hand. "You speak as though choice changes death. It changes everything." A branch moved behind Naruto. Zabuza stepped from the shadows. His enormous sword rested across one shoulder. "You talk too much, brat." Naruto looked at him. "Gato will not pay you." Zabuza's expression did not change. You expect me to believe that? I expect you to examine his history. You think mercenaries survive by trusting employers? No, I think they survive by requiring deposits. Zabuza's eye narrowed. Naruto removed a folded copy of Gato's lending register. He owes 3 other missing nin groups. None received final payment. 2 disappeared after completing their assignments. Haku looked toward Zabuza. The swordsman did not react. Naruto continued. Gato hired you because you are powerful enough to eliminate Tazuna and politically isolated enough to kill afterward. I know what Gato is. Then why continue? Because he pays enough. He has not paid. The contract is not complete. Naruto unfolded a second page. His company's liquid funds are insufficient to satisfy your agreed fee. Zabuza stepped closer. You broke into his accounts. No, he registered several shipping debts through mainland institutions. The records are public. You came to Wave carrying financial reports. I requested them by Messenger Hawk after accepting the mission. Zabuza stared at him. You are the strangest shinobi I have ever met. I hear that often. What do you want? Your contract. Haku's needles rose again. Zabuza laughed. You want to hire us? I want to purchase Gato's obligation. The laughter stopped. Naruto held out a stone tablet. I will pay the amount already earned under your existing agreement, plus reasonable termination compensation. With what money? Mora Ryo, or a registered claim against future assay revenue? You expect me to accept a child's note? Naruto placed a Mora coin on the tablet. Zabuza picked it up. The guarantee warmed in his palm. His expression changed slightly. Your reputation reached the mist, he said. Then you know the coin will be honored. I know people believe it will. That is what makes currency. Zabuza looked at Haku. The younger shinobi remained tense. What are the new terms? Zabuza asked. You cease attempts against Tazuna and Team 7. You provide testimony regarding Gato's criminal operations. You do not harm civilians during enforcement. And in return, full payment. Nothing else. An offer of future employment. Zabuza's eye narrowed. Doing what? Enforcing agreements. The missing nin stared at him. You want an assassin as a debt collector? I want someone who understands what happens when employers believe they can deny payment to people without political protection. For the first time, Zabuza looked genuinely interested. You trust me? No. Then why offer employment? Trust is not required before the first contract. Only clear terms. Haku looked at Naruto, and if we refuse, you remain our enemies. Will you attack us? Yes. Naruto's voice held no threat, only fact. Zabuza looked at the tablet, then he crushed the Mora coin in his hand. The stone broke. The golden guarantee remained in the fragments. He opened his palm. Meet us at the bridge tomorrow. Will you sign? Maybe. Naruto shook his head. That is not enough. Zabuza smiled beneath his bandages. Then stay awake tonight. He disappeared into the trees. Haku followed. Naruto returned to Tazuna's house. Kakashi waited on the roof. You negotiated with the enemy alone. Yes, you also left the house without notifying your team. Yes, you understand why both are problems? Yes, Kakashi looked down at him. You intend to apologize? No, Naruto. I intend to explain the reasoning, accept any reasonable team procedure, and refuse unnecessary restrictions. Kakashi closed his book. I liked you better when you shouted. No, you did not. That is true. Gato arrived at the bridge with more than 100 hired men. He expected to find Zabuza and Haku finishing the assassination. Instead, he found them standing beside Team 7. Zabuza had signed. The agreement occupied one narrow tablet, no loyalty clause, no perpetual service, no ownership. Payment for completed work, termination of Gato's contract, temporary cooperation until Tazuna and the bridge workers were safe. An optional employment discussion afterward. Gato stared at Zabuza. What is this? A change in management, the swordsman said. You work for me? You failed to pay the required deposit. I was going to pay after the bridge builder died. You did not have the money. Gato's face twisted. He looked toward Naruto. The blonde genin stood beside a stone desk placed absurdly in the middle of the unfinished bridge. Documents covered its surface. "You," Naruto nodded. "Gato, you think paper protects you?" "No," Naruto pointed toward the mercenaries. "They do." Gato laughed. "You paid one assassin, I brought an army." "Hired men," Naruto corrected. "Not soldiers. What difference does it make?" "Soldiers are bound by hierarchy, loyalty, and shared identity. These men are bound by wages." Naruto raised his voice, "which Gato cannot pay." The crowd shifted. Gato's smile vanished. Naruto held up copies of his company accounts. "Gato Shipping is insolvent. Its warehouses contain pledged goods. Its ships are collateral for mainland loans. The cash intended for your wages was transferred to a private account 3 days ago." The mercenaries looked toward Gato. He stepped back. "Lies." Naruto dropped a bag onto the stone desk. Coins spilled across it. "Mora. Any person who leaves the bridge without harming a civilian may exchange Gato's written wage claim for half its value today." The crowd erupted. "Half!" someone shouted. "Gato promised full payment." "He cannot provide it," Naruto replied. "You may remain and attempt collection from him." The mercenaries looked at the shipping magnate. Gato's guards moved closer to him. Naruto continued. "Anyone who provides records of Gato's crimes may receive additional compensation after verification." The first sword hit the ground, then another. Men began crossing the bridge toward Naruto's side. Gato screamed at them. "Cowards, I own every one of you." Naruto's expression changed. "No," he stepped from behind the desk. "That is the mistake upon which your entire business depends." Gato pointed at him. "Kill the brat." His personal guards charged. Sasuke moved first. Sakura protected Tazuna. Kakashi disappeared in a blur. Haku's ice mirrors rose across the bridge, not to trap Team 7 but to separate armed guards from fleeing workers. Zabuza lifted the executioner's blade. The battle lasted less than 4 minutes. Gato ended on his knees. No one killed him. Naruto considered that important. Death would have ended his obligations. Instead, Naruto placed a stack of documents before him. "What is this?" Gato spat. "Foreclosure." Naruto had spent the previous night purchasing claims, fishermen's loans, warehouse liens, unpaid mercenary wages, mainland shipping debts, compensation claims from families whose relatives Gato's men had killed. Individually, none of the creditors could challenge him. Together, their claims exceeded the value of his entire company. Naruto had not bought every debt with money. Some creditors accepted shares in Wave's future bridge tolls. Others accepted Mora guarantees. Several accepted the possibility of justice because they had believed nothing would ever be recovered. Gato stared at the totals. "You cannot do this. Your contracts say otherwise." "I wrote those contracts." "Yes." Naruto turned the final page. "That is why they are enforceable." Gato attempted to tear the documents. The stone beneath his hands closed around his wrists. He screamed. Naruto had not petrified him. The bridge itself held him in place. "Coercion!" Gato shouted. "You're forcing me!" "No signature is required." Naruto looked down at him. "You already signed these agreements. I am enforcing the terms you wrote for others." Gato's face went pale. His company lost its warehouses before sunset. The fishing boats returned to their original operators. The shipping fleet was divided among Wave's communities and outside creditors. Gato retained personal property sufficient to live. Naruto refused to leave him destitute. Many people objected. Naruto did not change the ruling. Justice did not require becoming the thing it punished. Construction resumed. Zabuza did not leave, neither did Haku. The missing nin claimed he remained only until final payment cleared. Haku helped workers move stone. Sakura treated injuries. Sasuke trained alone every evening, furious that Naruto had defeated Gato without winning a single dramatic battle. One night, he found Naruto sitting beside the bridge supports. "You bought the country," Sasuke said. "No, you own the company that owned it." "The assets were distributed." "Through terms you wrote." "Terms accepted by the creditors." Sasuke looked toward the water. "Everyone chooses what you want eventually." Naruto followed his gaze. No, Danzo lost. The merchants joined Urasei. Zabuza signed. Gato's men switched sides. Kurama refused. Sasuke looked at him. Naruto rarely mentioned the Nine Tails directly. He still hasn't agreed to help you. No. And you keep visiting him? Yes. Why? Naruto thought of the open cage door, because his refusal matters even when it gives me nothing. Sasuke looked away. Naruto suspected he was thinking about another open offer, one that did not yet exist. The bridge was completed 6 weeks later. Tazuna wanted to name it after Naruto. Naruto refused. Names create ownership. People need something to call it, Tazuna argued. Call it the Wave Bridge? That is boring. It is accurate. Tazuna called it the Great Naruto Bridge in private and the Wave Reconstruction Bridge on official records. Naruto pretended not to know. The opening ceremony gathered nearly the entire nearby population. Fishermen stood beside builders. Children climbed unfinished railings. Merchants displayed the first goods imported without Gato's toll. Naruto stood at the center with representatives from Konoha and Wave. A stone tablet rested before them. The agreement established protected passage across the bridge. Konoha recognized Wave's independence. Wave guaranteed fair access to traders regardless of village affiliation. The assay certified weights, tolls, and transport claims for the first 5 years. The term had an end. Every party could renegotiate afterward. Tazuna signed for the bridge workers. A council of fishermen and merchants signed for Wave. Kakashi signed as Konoha's mission representative. Naruto signed only as guarantor. When the final name touched stone, the golden ledger opened. The new entry was larger than any before it, not because of the money involved. Because this was the first agreement between nations, Geo authority surged through Naruto. The river changed, stone rose from beneath the water and wrapped around the bridge's foundations. Pale mineral climbed the support columns, forming smooth, protective layers. Golden lines spread across the structure like veins catching sunlight. A transparent barrier appeared over the bridge. It lasted only a few seconds before fading into the stone. The crowd fell silent. Naruto's knees almost buckled. Sakura caught his arm. This time, he did not claim to be fine. "What did you do?" Tazuna whispered. Naruto looked across the bridge. "A guarantee." The jade shield did not make the structure indestructible. It protected the bridge against deliberate destruction by parties bound to the treaty. It reinforced the stone during storms. It recorded serious tampering. Anyone outside the agreement could still attack it. Any signatory could withdraw when the term ended. Protection existed because people had accepted obligations to one another. It was not perfect. That was why it was real. Haku stood beside Zabuza at the edge of the crowd. Naruto approached them after the ceremony. He handed Zabuza the final payment. The missing nin weighed the Mora pouch, full amount. Yes, Gato would have tried to reduce it. "I am not Gato." "No," Zabuza looked toward the assay seal. "That might be more dangerous." Naruto held out another tablet. Employment offer, 1-year term, payment per completed assignment, right to refuse individual cases, no operations involving children, political assassinations, or civilian intimidation. Zabuza read it. Enforcement officer. "Yes, you want me to frighten debtors. I want you to protect clerks who must confront powerful people." That sounds less entertaining. The pay is reliable. Zabuza looked at Haku. The younger shinobi smiled. "Will we have to live in Konoha?" Haku asked. "Not permanently. Travel is required." "Will the village accept us?" "No." Naruto's honesty surprised both of them. Kakashi has agreed to sponsor a conditional pardon request. "The result is uncertain," Zabuza laughed. "You make poor sales offers. I make accurate ones." Haku took the brush first. Zabuza looked at him. "You want this?" "I want to see what happens." The words mattered. Not duty, not ownership, choice. Haku signed. Zabuza stared at the signature for several seconds. Then he added his own. The contract entered the ledger. Naruto felt the new authority settle. Zabuza handed back the brush. 1 year. 1 year. "And when it ends?" "You may leave." "No pursuit." "Not unless you commit a separate crime." Zabuza nodded. That will take adjustment. Team 7 departed Wave the following morning. Tazuna's family stood at the bridge entrance. Inari cried openly and denied it afterward. Haku and Zabuza traveled separately, carrying orders to report to a neutral assay office near the Fire Country border. Sakura walked beside Naruto. "You're tired," she said. "Yes." She looked surprised. Naruto continued. "The bridge guarantee is heavier than expected. Can you remove it?" "Only by mutual amendment or at the treaty's end. So you'll feel it for 5 years." "Yes." Sakura frowned. "That doesn't sound safe. It is manageable." She gave him a look. Naruto corrected himself. "I believe it is manageable. I may be wrong." "That was painful for you, wasn't it?" "Yes." She smiled. Sasuke walked ahead. Kakashi read behind them. Naruto turned once to look at the bridge. The gold-veined stone shone in the morning light. People crossed freely. Wagons carried food toward the island. Fishing boats passed beneath it without paying Gato. For the first time since awakening, Naruto felt close to the god he remembered being: a builder, a guarantor, a figure whose promises could hold up nations. Then his left hand trembled. Gray crept across one fingertip, only for a second. Naruto closed his fist before Sakura noticed. Every coin was a lien. Every shield was an obligation. Every person protected by his authority added weight to the body carrying it. The bridge stood stronger because Naruto was spread thinner. He understood the exchange. He accepted it, for now. Far beyond Wave Country, a pale man with golden eyes examined a report describing the bridge. Orochimaru traced one finger across the image of gold-veined stone. A child who could make agreements physically real. A child who carried 2 ancient powers inside one mortal body. A child who believed every contract required an end. Orochimaru smiled. He began drafting an offer that would last forever. Chapter 6. The Auction of Peace. The Chunin exams were presented as a test of young shinobi. Naruto recognized an auction when he saw one. Foreign dignitaries filled Konoha's hotels. Merchants rented balconies overlooking the arena. Daimyo representatives studied candidates as future bodyguards, commanders, and weapons. Villages displayed children the way trading houses displayed rare steel, speed, bloodlines, elemental techniques. Obedience. Each victory increased the value of the village that had trained them. Each defeat weakened future mission negotiations. Konoha called it peaceful competition. The word peaceful did not change what was being sold. Naruto stood outside the academy with Sakura and Sasuke as teams gathered for the first examination. Sound shinobi waited near the entrance. Grass shinobi whispered in the courtyard. A sand team stood apart from everyone else. Naruto noticed the red-haired boy first. Not because of the enormous gourd on his back, because the sand around his feet moved when the wind did not. Gaara of the desert watched the crowd without blinking. His siblings remained close but not comfortably close. The girl with the fan watched his hands. The boy in black watched his face. They did not stand beside a teammate. They stood beside a dangerous object whose conditions of use had not been explained to them. Something stirred inside Naruto's seal. The fox rarely reacted to strangers. This time it laughed. Another cage. Naruto's expression did not change. "You recognize what is inside him?" "I recognize the stink of a seal made by cowards." Naruto looked at Gaara's gourd. "Is it one of your kind silence?" Then the Nine-Tails answered. One tail. Shukaku. Loud, unstable, and entirely justified in hating humans. That description sounds familiar. Red heat pressed against Naruto's chakra network. Careful little god, Naruto almost smiled. Kurama still had not given him a name. But during the previous year, the fox had begun responding more often. That was not a contract. Naruto valued it more because of that. Sakura followed his gaze. "The sand boy?" "Yes, he looks dangerous. So does Sasuke." Sasuke glanced at her. Sakura immediately looked away. Naruto continued studying Gaara. No one watches Sasuke as though they are waiting for him to explode. Sasuke's expression darkened. "You don't know anything about me?" "I know your clan placed expectations on you before you could understand them." The words landed too close. Sasuke stepped toward him. "Stop comparing me to strangers. I did not say you were alike. You implied it. I observed that people assign value to children according to what they carry." Sasuke looked toward Gaara. The sand boy was staring back. His eyes settled first on Sasuke, then on Naruto. The sand at Gaara's feet rose, not enough to attack, enough to indicate interest. Kakashi appeared behind Team 7. "You three should enter." Sakura jumped. "You were watching us? I am your instructor. That has never stopped you from disappearing." Kakashi ignored her. His visible eye rested on Gaara. "Do not provoke the sand team." Naruto adjusted the forehead protector on his arm. "I have not. You were evaluating them? That is not provocation. With you, it often becomes provocation." They entered the academy. The first examination was designed to test information gathering. Ibiki Morino called it a written exam. Naruto called it institutionalized cheating. The questions exceeded the educational level of most genin. Hidden proctors watched for crude methods while quietly rewarding candidates who stole information without being caught. Naruto read the entire paper. He knew the answers to 7 of the 10 questions. The remaining 3 required advanced military mathematics. A stone bead formed beneath his desk. It rolled across the floor, responding to the vibrations of pencils used by nearby candidates. Each stroke produced a different pattern. Naruto could reconstruct the movements without looking at anyone's paper. He did not. Sakura glanced toward him. Naruto was staring at question 8. He could have copied the answer from her. She knew it. He knew she knew it. Instead, Naruto wrote beneath the question, "The supplied information is insufficient. Any commander who gives a precise answer without additional reconnaissance is inventing certainty." Ibiki noticed. His scarred face revealed nothing. The final question was the real test. Candidates were told that failure would permanently prevent them from taking the Chunin exams again. They could withdraw now, preserving their teammates' futures, or risk destroying all 3 careers. Teams began leaving. Naruto listened carefully. The threat was false. No village benefited from permanently preventing promising genin from advancing because of one test. Such a policy would waste years of training. More importantly, Ibiki lacked the authority to impose it. Naruto raised his hand. Ibiki looked toward him. "You wish to withdraw?" "No." "Then lower your hand. I have a procedural objection." Several candidates groaned. Sakura placed her head in her hands. Ibiki's eye twitched. "This is not a civilian court. You are threatening a permanent military consequence. Identify the regulation granting you authority. You are in no position to make demands. Then the threat is unsupported." Ibiki leaned forward. "Perhaps I will fail your entire team for insubordination." "Under which regulation?" Laughter moved through the room. Ibiki slammed one hand against the desk. The laughter stopped. Naruto met his stare. The interrogator's killing intent pressed against the candidates. Naruto did not resist it with Gio. The threat itself proved the point. Ibiki smiled slowly. "Interesting." He dismissed the final question and passed everyone who remained. Afterward, Sakura struck Naruto on the shoulder. "You cannot challenge every examiner. I can challenge any examiner making false claims. You could have gotten us failed." He could not legally fail us for requesting the rule. Sasuke walked ahead. "You rely too much on rules." Naruto followed him. "You rely too much on believing strength places you beyond them." Sasuke turned. "And when rules protect the people who killed my clan," Naruto stopped. The corridor emptied around them. Sakura looked between the boys. Sasuke had never spoken of the massacre so directly. Naruto answered carefully. "Then the rules are incomplete." "That's your answer." "No," Naruto lowered his voice. "If a system cannot recognize what was taken from you, you are not obligated to call it justice." Sasuke's eyes narrowed. But creating a world where only the strongest person's pain matters will not restore your family." Sasuke looked away first. The second exam began the following morning. The Forest of Death possessed no recognized commercial value. That was likely why Konoha had not developed it. Giant trees blocked sunlight. Poisonous insects nested near the roots. Predators moved through the undergrowth with enough chakra to threaten inexperienced shinobi. Each team received either a heaven scroll or an earth scroll. They needed the matching scroll to pass. The structure encouraged theft, ambush, and betrayal. Naruto found it more honest than the written exam. At least the violence was admitted. Team 7 moved through the forest for several hours before the birds stopped singing. Sasuke noticed first. His hand rose. Sakura froze. Naruto felt something pass across the ground, not footsteps. Intent. A grass shinobi appeared on a tree branch ahead. The person's face was wrong. The skin fit too loosely around the mouth. Golden eyes examined Team 7. Naruto's geo-awareness reached through the tree. The stranger's chakra felt like snakes moving beneath oil. Sasuke threw the first shuriken. The grass shinobi bent backward at an impossible angle. A tongue extended from the disguised mouth and wrapped around the heaven scroll at Sakura's waist. Naruto raised a stone barrier. The tongue struck rock. The grass shinobi smiled. Geo-authority. Naruto's expression hardened. You know what it is. I know what it could become. The stranger peeled away the stolen face. Pale skin emerged beneath it. Purple markings surrounded serpentine eyes. Sasuke's breathing changed. Killing intent filled the forest. Sakura fell to one knee. Naruto remained standing only because memories of ancient battlefields gave his mind something larger with which to compare the pressure. The body still shook. Orochimaru, Naruto said. Sasuke looked toward him. You know him. Former Konoha shinobi, S-rank missing nin. Human experimentation, prohibited techniques, attempted acquisition of immortality. Orochimaru's smile widened. You have read my file. I read the expenses that continued after your defection. That removed a fraction of the amusement from Orochimaru's face. Danzo's accounts, among others. How industrious. Snakes emerged from the branches. Sasuke activated the Sharingan. Sakura reached for a kunai. Naruto placed one hand against the ground. The earth answered. A ring of stone rose around Team 7. Orochimaru moved through it before the circle closed. His hand struck Naruto's chest. The impact threw Naruto through two trees. Pain erased the forest. He hit the ground and could not breathe. Sasuke's fireball swallowed Orochimaru. The missing nin emerged from the flames with burned skin sliding from his face. Sakura threw smoke bombs. Naruto forced himself up. Straight fights were rarely the point. Against ordinary cage-level opponents, his geo-authority could overwhelm terrain, crush defenses, or bury enemies beneath stone. But meaningful expenditure required obligations. The Forest of Death owed him nothing. Team 7's informal bond carried no registered terms. He could move rock. He could not spend enough authority to drop a mountain without attaching that action to a debt someone had willingly accepted. Orochimaru understood this. That was why he had attacked here. No civilians, no treaty. No standing obligation large enough for Naruto to draw upon. Your power is trapped by your principles, Orochimaru said. Naruto wiped blood from his mouth. My principles are why it is mine. Is it? Orochimaru's body stretched. He appeared between Sasuke and Sakura. A snake wrapped around Sakura's waist and threw her aside. Sasuke attacked. Orochimaru caught his wrist. You carry another valuable inheritance, the missing nin whispered. Naruto raised a stone spear. Orochimaru used Sasuke as a shield. Naruto stopped the spear before impact. Orochimaru laughed. There, he released Sasuke and moved away. Power that cannot accept collateral damage. Power that does not consider allies collateral. How noble! Orochimaru reached into his robe. He removed a scroll made from pale leather. I did not come to kill you. Sasuke prepared another technique. Orochimaru ignored him. I came to make an offer. Naruto looked at the scroll. No, you have not read it. A contract presented during an attack is coercive. Orochimaru's smile became almost affectionate. How refreshing. The snakes withdrew. The killing intent eased. Sakura stood slowly. Sasuke did not lower his guard. Orochimaru placed the scroll on a stone stump. You are now free to leave. Naruto looked around the forest. You will not pursue us. Not for the next hour. Your word. My written guarantee. A symbol appeared on the scroll. Naruto felt no divine authority inside it, but chakra reinforced the statement. Breaking it would injure Orochimaru, a self-binding seal, crude compared to Geo law, still meaningful. Naruto approached the stump. Sasuke grabbed his shoulder. What are you doing? Reading? He tried to kill us? No, he demonstrated that he could. That makes it worse. Yes. Naruto opened the scroll. Orochimaru's terms were written with extraordinary precision. Access to forbidden knowledge, training in sealing, anatomy, elemental transformation, and techniques preserved from extinct clans. Protection for the Asai against village interference. Resources to expand the Mora standard beyond Fire Country. A method to strengthen Naruto's mortal body until it could contain more Geo authority. In return, Naruto would share research regarding divine contracts, Geo creation, and the relationship between authority and mortal vessels. The agreement established them as equal partners. Neither could command the other. Neither could conceal relevant discoveries. Neither could deliberately harm the other. The final clause defined the term, the agreement shall endure until both parties cease to exist. Naruto read it again. Orochimaru watched him. You see the elegance. I see a perpetual term. Not perpetual, it ends when we do. You intend never to cease existing. Orochimaru's golden eyes gleamed. Now you understand the opportunity. Naruto rolled up the scroll. No, for the first time, Orochimaru looked genuinely curious rather than amused. Why? A contract must have an end. It has one. An end neither party intends to reach is not an end. We can amend it later. The contract requires mutual amendment, as all proper partnerships should. Naruto placed the scroll back on the stump. If one party changes while the other refuses, the agreement becomes a prison. You fear commitment. I understand ownership disguised as permanence. Orochimaru's smile faded. I offer knowledge greater than anything Konoha can provide. Yes, power enough to protect every person who accepts your system. Perhaps a body that does not crumble whenever you use that power. Naruto's fingers twitched. Orochimaru noticed gray had briefly appeared beneath one fingernail. You know your shell is failing, the missing nin said softly. You place divine weight upon mortal bones. Every guarantee divides you. Every shield consumes you. Sakura looked toward Naruto. He had never told Team 7 how serious the cost might become. Orochimaru continued. I can solve that problem. Naruto stared at the scroll. The offer tempted him, not because of immortality, because his body was the limiting resource in every promise he made. If Orochimaru could strengthen it, Naruto could mint more Mora, protect more villages, and build shields large enough that no child would ever again depend upon whether a powerful adult chose to care. The Golden Ledger responded to the possibility. A vast future opened before him. Contracts across nations, mountains raised against war, every agreement guaranteed by something that could not die, no uncertainty, no abandonment. Naruto looked at Orochimaru. A term without an end is not a contract, he said. It is a cage. The words passed through the forest. Deep within Naruto's seal, Kurama became completely still. Orochimaru's expression hardened. Naruto continued, offer 5 years. Too short. 10. I require continuity. Then define milestones and renewal conditions. I do not intend to spend decades renegotiating with a child afraid of his potential. Then you do not want a partner. Naruto pushed the scroll toward him. You want property that believes it consented. Orochimaru's killing intent returned. This time, Sasuke did not freeze. He moved beside Naruto. Sakura joined them. Orochimaru looked at all three, then he smiled again. Very well. Snakes coiled around his body. Keep your temporary life. He vanished into the forest. The self-binding hour began. Team 7 did not waste it. They reached the tower after 4 days. Sakura carried both scrolls. Sasuke remained silent. Naruto knew Orochimaru had spoken to him separately during the attack, though Sasuke refused to discuss it. The preliminary matches began that afternoon. Naruto defeated Kiba in Yuzuka by redirecting Akamaru's charge into a shallow stone trench. He did not bury either of them. Kiba accused him of cheating. Naruto requested the rule prohibiting terrain alteration. Kiba shouted until the referee declared the match complete. Sasuke defeated a sound genin while fighting the influence of a small black mark that had appeared on his neck. Orochimaru had left him with a contract of another kind, one signed through pain. Naruto recognized the cursed seal as coercive and therefore beyond his divine enforcement. He could not simply command it to break. Sasuke refused examination by the assay. Kakashi sealed it through ninjutsu instead. Gaara's match ended with blood. His sand crushed another candidate's limbs after victory had already been declared. The arena went silent. Gaara stood over the fallen genin, breathing hard. The One-Tail's chakra pulsed beneath his skin. Naruto felt Kurama's attention sharpen. The seal denies him sleep, the fox said. Naruto's stomach tightened. Why? Because humans enjoy putting locks on doors and then act surprised when the room catches fire. Medical shinobi removed the injured candidate. Gaara looked toward Naruto. Your monster speaks to you. Sakura stiffened. Sasuke's hand moved toward a kunai. Naruto answered calmly. Yes. Gaara's eyes widened. He tells you to kill? No. Then he is weak. A growl moved through Naruto's seal. Naruto ignored it. What does yours tell you? Gaara smiled. To prove I exist. Naruto understood too well. The starving 6-year-old inside him understood better than the god. And killing proves that. It proves I can take something no one can return. Naruto looked at the blood staining the arena floor. No, it proves someone else existed until you removed them. Gaara's sand rose. The proctor stepped between them. The final matches were scheduled 1 month later. The invasion began before the tournament ended. The arena roof exploded. Feathers filled the air as a mass genjutsu spread across the stands. Sound and sand, shinobi attacked from inside the village. Giant snakes breached the outer wall. Orochimaru trapped Hiruzen atop the arena beneath a barrier raised by the Sound Four. The Chunin exams revealed their true nature. The auction had become a hostile takeover. Foreign dignitaries fled. Merchants abandoned balconies. Children displayed as military assets were ordered to fight a war adults had hidden from them. Naruto stood in the arena as Kakashi released the genjutsu from Team 7. Orders? Sakura asked. Kakashi looked toward the rooftop barrier, then toward Gaara. The sand Jinchuriki had fled with his siblings, blood running from a wound Sasuke had inflicted during their interrupted match. His seal was destabilizing. Follow the sand team, Kakashi said. Stop Gaara before the One-Tail fully manifests. Naruto looked toward Hiruzen. The Hokage met his gaze from inside the barrier. Orochimaru stood opposite him wearing the face of the 4th Kazekage. Hiruzen made a hand signal. Not a military command. A private signal they had agreed upon after the Danzo hearing. The threat concerns your seal. You are informed. Your choice remains yours. Naruto understood. Orochimaru's invasion was partly aimed at him. Hiruzen could invoke the emergency clause and order Naruto to fight where his power was most useful. He did not. Naruto faced Kakashi. Protect the civilians here. That is my intention. Sakura, come with me, she nodded. Sasuke had already left in pursuit of Gaara. Naruto and Sakura followed. They found Sasuke in the forest outside Konoha. He was pinned against a tree by sand. Gaara no longer looked human. One arm had transformed into a massive claw of compacted earth and wind. Sand covered half his face. His siblings remained at a distance, terrified. Naruto raised a stone wall between Gaara and Sasuke. The sand claw shattered it. Geo-fragments filled the air. Gaara laughed. You came? Yes, to kill me. No, then you are useless. The transformed arm struck again. Naruto caught it with both hands. The impact drove his feet into the ground. Stone erupted around his legs to anchor him. Gaara's sand pressed harder. Naruto felt the presence inside it. Shukaku, not merely angry, panicked. A creature sealed into a child whose mind had never been allowed to rest. Naruto released one hand. He placed it against Gaara's wrist. The physical forest disappeared. Naruto landed inside a desert. There was no water, no corridor, no clean cage. A moonless sky hung above endless sand. At the center stood Gaara as a small child, chains extended from his body into a vast shape buried beneath the dunes. One enormous eye opened. Shukaku's laughter rolled across the desert. The fox little prison comes to visit, Gaara turned. You! Naruto looked at the chains. They did not merely hold Shukaku, they connected the beast's consciousness to Gaara's sleep. Whenever Gaara weakened, Shukaku gained access. Whenever Shukaku pressed outward, Gaara's mind absorbed its rage. The seal forced them into permanent conflict. No rest for Gaara, no freedom for Shukaku. Each existed as the other's punishment. Naruto approached the child. Did anyone explain this seal to you? Gaara's eyes were empty. My mother protects me. The sand moved around him. It did not feel maternal. It felt like a dead woman's last command given form through guilt. Shukaku rose from the dunes. The one-tail resembled a gigantic tanuki covered in dark markings. Another human offering terms? It roared. No, Naruto said. Shukaku paused. Gaara stared at him. Naruto looked between them. I am asking what each of you wants. Freedom, Shukaku shouted. Proof, Gaara said. Naruto faced Gaara. Proof of what? That I exist. Would sleep prove it? Gaara's expression cracked. For the first time, he looked like a child rather than a weapon. I cannot sleep. I know. Shukaku's claws dug into the sand. If he sleeps, I take control. Because the seal gives you no other access. The one-tail's eye narrowed. Naruto examined the chains. This can be renegotiated. Gaara laughed weakly. Everyone says they will fix me. I did not say that. What is wrong with me then? Someone placed you inside a contract before you could read it. Naruto touched one of the chains. The seal burned his hand. This seal can be altered without freeing Shukaku physically. The one-tail growled. Another better cage. Yes, the honesty stopped the growl. Naruto continued. I cannot safely release you today. I will not pretend otherwise. Then leave. I can remove the claws connecting Gaara's sleep to your control. Shukaku became still. Gaara stared. Naruto traced the seal's structure. In exchange, Shukaku receives scheduled access to your senses and controlled use of your chakra network when you both agree. Gaara's breathing quickened. No, Naruto looked at him. If I sleep, he will kill everyone. Under the current seal, perhaps. He hates me. Shukaku's laughter vanished. The one-tail lowered its head. I do not know you. Gaara flinched as though struck. For years, he had treated the voice inside him as proof that something understood him, even if it only understood hatred. Shukaku continued. I know the hands that sealed me. I know the village that wanted a weapon. I know the fear they poured into you. Its voice became quieter, but I do not know you. Naruto looked at both of them. No agreement can begin while the invasion continues. Coercion would void enforcement. Shukaku's eye narrowed. Then why are you here? To propose a temporary ceasefire. He formed a small stone tablet. 1 hour. Gaara retains his body. Shukaku stops forcing manifestation. In return, I guarantee that no one here will attempt to alter the seal during that hour. Gaara looked toward the tablet. What happens after you speak? About what? Everything you were never asked. Shukaku examined the terms. No loyalty, it said. No obedience. No promise that I remain in the brat forever. No. Gaara's hands trembled. What do I owe? During the hour, you do not attack anyone except in immediate self-defense. And after, you choose again. Gaara stared at the signature line. His whole life had been defined by commands. Protect the village. Become a weapon. Do not sleep. Do not trust. Kill before being killed. Naruto placed the brush between them. You may refuse. Gaara looked at him. You could stop me by force. Yes. Then why ask? Because being stopped is not the same as choosing to stop. Gaara signed. Shukaku pressed one claw against the tablet. Its mark appeared beside Gaara's name. The temporary contract entered the ledger. The manifestation ceased. In the physical world, Gaara collapsed. His transformed arm dissolved into sand. Naruto caught him. Sasuke slid down the tree. What did you do? Bought 1 hour. With what? A guarantee. Sakura landed beside them. What happens when the hour ends? We negotiate again. Temari approached cautiously. Gaara opened his eyes. For the first time since infancy, the voice inside him was quiet without being absent. "I'm tired," he whispered. Temari's fan slipped from her hand. Gaara had never admitted fatigue. He had treated sleep as death. Naruto lowered him to the ground. Then sleep. Fear crossed Gaara's face. Shukaku's voice entered the shared space between them. I signed. Gaara closed his eyes. His breathing slowed. He slept. The sand did not move. Temari sank to her knees. Kankuro turned away, hiding his face. Naruto sat beside Gaara until the temporary agreement stabilized. Then a golden line inside the ledger broke. Not Gaara's contract, the first tablet. Hiruzen! Naruto looked toward Konoha. The old promise was reaching its end. The rooftop barrier fell before Naruto returned. The battle had destroyed half the tiles. The first and second Hokage's reanimated bodies lay sealed. Orochimaru had escaped with both arms damaged by the Reaper Death Seal. Hiruzen Sarutobi lay beneath his white robes. Anbu surrounded him. Naruto landed on the roof. The world became silent. Hiruzen's eyes opened slightly. "You stopped the One-Tail." "Yes." "By force?" "No." A weak smile touched the old man's face. "Good." Naruto knelt beside him. The Hokage's right hand was blackened from the sealing technique. The stone ring around his finger had cracked. "Medical team," Naruto called. One of the Anbu lowered his head. "They have done everything possible." Naruto touched the roof. Geo authority searched through the stone, the blood, the remaining chakra. The damage was not an injury in any ordinary sense. Hiruzen had offered his soul as payment. No shield could prevent a transaction already completed. "Why?" Naruto asked. Hiruzen looked toward the village. Smoke rose between buildings. "Orochimaru wanted your body." Naruto's expression hardened. "He offered me a contract." "I know." "You could have ordered me here." "Yes." "The emergency clause permitted it." "Yes." "Why didn't you?" The old man's eyes returned to him. "Because the village promised not to make you its weapon." The answer struck through 6,000 years of memory. Hiruzen coughed. Blood touched his lips. "I could have called you to the roof. Perhaps your power would have ended the battle quickly." "It would have." "I knew that." "Then people died because you kept the agreement." "No." Hiruzen's voice weakened. "People died because Orochimaru attacked. Do not assign his debt to yourself." Naruto's hands tightened. "You are dying." "Yes. For a promise." "For my promise." The distinction mattered. Hiruzen reached beneath his robe. He removed a sealed envelope. Naruto recognized the markings. His own name was written across the front. "Information concerning your body, seal, and legal status," Hiruzen whispered. "No longer withheld." Naruto accepted it. The envelope was heavier than paper. "My parents. Everything I should have told you earlier." The stone ring around Hiruzen's finger warmed. The Chapter 1 contract recognized fulfillment, not perfect fulfillment, not timely, but freely chosen at the moment when breaking it would have been easier. Naruto looked at the old man. "You could have lived." "Perhaps. That is a poor bargain." Hiruzen smiled. "Not every promise is made because the return is equal." Naruto's vision blurred. He had watched gods die. He had buried warriors, rulers, companions, and civilizations. The 6-year-old boy inside him had never buried a grandfather. "I did not release you from the contract," Naruto said. "No." "You could have asked." "I know." "Why didn't you?" Hiruzen lifted one trembling hand. Naruto leaned closer. The old man touched his forehead. "Because this was not a debt I wanted forgiven." His hand fell. The ring turned to ordinary stone. The first entry in the golden ledger closed. Hiruzen Sarutobi died with Naruto's name on his lips, and the village's obligation carried to its end. For several minutes, Naruto remained beside him. No mountain rose. No golden light covered the sky. The god remembered how to conduct funerals for emperors. The child only knew how to cry. The village mourned for 7 days. Naruto read the envelope on the first night. Minato Namikaze. Kushina Uzumaki. His father had been the 4th Hokage. His mother had been the previous Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The red-haired woman Kurama had described was Naruto's mother. The truth did not provide peace. It created new debts, questions for the dead, anger without a living target, gratitude he did not want to feel. He entered the seal after finishing the final page. Kurama waited behind the open bars. "You knew," Naruto said. "Yes." "You could have told me." "Yes." "Why didn't you?" The fox's red eye watched him. "Because the truth was yours to receive from the people who stole it. They are dead." "One is." Naruto looked up. "My mother's chakra remains in the seal." Kurama did not answer. That was answer enough. Naruto sat in the water. The fox spoke after a long silence. The old ape kept his final promise. "Yes." "Does that erase the years before it?" "No." "Then what was it worth?" Naruto looked at his reflection. It was worth itself. Kurama lowered its head. For once it did not mock him. The council offered Naruto the Hokage's hat 3 days after the funeral, not publicly. No 12-year-old could legally hold the office under ordinary village law, but ordinary law had become flexible in the face of fear. Konoha's leaders had watched Naruto neutralize Root, break Gato's monopoly, bind a foreign Jinchuriki, and establish a treaty stronger than many national alliances. They did not see a child. They saw the fastest way to stabilize the village. Koharu placed the hat on the council table. "You would serve under an emergency regency until reaching the legal age." Naruto looked at the white cloth. Several years ago, he would have grabbed it with both hands. Hokage, acknowledgement, the entire village forced to see his face. Now he understood what the council was truly offering. Not recognition, collateral. "Who would serve as regent?" Naruto asked. "An appointed council." "Who appoints it?" "We do." "Who can remove it?" "The council, with clan approval." "Then you would retain control while my name guarantees the decisions." Hamura frowned. "That is an uncharitable interpretation." "It is accurate." Koharu folded her hands. "The village needs a figure people trust." "People trust my guarantees." "Yes." "That is not the same as trusting me." No one answered. Naruto looked toward the empty Hokage seat. Hiruzen had died because he refused to use Naruto as a weapon. Accepting the hat under these terms would turn him into one voluntarily. "A god should not hold office," Naruto said. Koharu's eyes narrowed. "You claim divinity?" "No." Naruto looked at his stone-marked fingertip. "I remember what happens when people mistake an unchallengeable guarantor for a ruler." "What does that mean?" "It means a leader must be removable. The Hokage can be replaced." "Can I?" Silence. Naruto continued. "If I hold the village's currency, treaties, shields, and military authority, who can meaningfully tell me no?" "The council." Danzo sat on this council. Koharu's expression hardened. Naruto pushed the hat away. "I refuse." The village elders protested. Naruto left before they finished. He found Jiraiya at Hiruzen's memorial. The white-haired shinobi held a bottle of sake and pretended he had not been crying. "You refused the hat," Jiraiya said. "Yes. Your father would have taken it." "My father made several choices I do not intend to copy." Jiraiya looked toward the memorial stone. "That's fair. Konoha requires a Hokage." "It does." Tsunade. Jiraiya's expression changed. "She won't accept." "Then we will negotiate. You make that sound simple." "No." Naruto looked at Hiruzen's carved name. "It will be difficult." They found Tsunade in a gambling town several weeks later. She owed money to 6 casinos, 3 moneylenders, and 1 restaurant whose owner had stopped expecting payment. Naruto liked her immediately. She distrusted contracts because she had watched villages turn promises of honor into lists of dead relatives. She distrusted the Hokage title because both her grandfather and teacher had treated sacrifice as proof of worth. She distrusted Naruto because people who guaranteed everything eventually believed they owned everything. "You want me to become Hokage?" she said across a gambling table. "Yes." "Why?" "You possess medical expertise, clan legitimacy, battlefield authority, and sufficient public trust." "Romantic." "I am not proposing marriage." Jiraiya choked on his drink. Shizune covered her face. Tsunade leaned forward. "And what do you get?" "A leader who can legally restrict me." That removed her amusement. Naruto placed a tablet on the table. The Hokage would receive authority over assay operations involving Konoha's military interests, subject to written review. You want supervision? Yes. Why? Because no guarantor should evaluate his own guarantees. Tsunade read further. Naruto would serve as formal guarantor of Konoha's reconstruction obligations. Tsunade would retain the power to refuse new divine guarantees issued in the village's name. Naruto could appeal to the council. The terms lasted 4 years. At the end, both parties would renegotiate. Tsunade tapped the final clause, and if I order you to use your power, you may issue military orders appropriate to my rank. Can I order you to drop a mountain on someone? You may attempt to justify it, she laughed. You're serious. Yes. What happens if I refuse the hat? I continue searching for a qualified candidate. You won't threaten me? No. Offer to clear my debts? No. Appeal to my grandfather's legacy? No. Tsunade looked almost disappointed. Then why should I agree? Naruto thought of Hiruzen. Because Konoha needs someone powerful enough to lead it and human enough to be wrong. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. That sounded rehearsed. It was not. She read the tablet again. You think you are not human? I am trying to become more so. The answer remained between them. Tsunade picked up the brush. 4 years. 4 years. I can tell you no. Yes. I can suspend assay operations if I believe they threaten the village. With stated reasons and review, I can order you to rest. Naruto frowned. That is not currently included. Tsunade added a clause. Jiraiya began laughing. Shizune approved the amendment. Naruto argued for 11 minutes. He lost. Tsunade signed. Naruto added his name beneath hers. The contract entered the ledger. Geo authority surged through him. Konoha had a Hokage. Naruto had a superior. The village gained a leader who could challenge its guarantor. It was the correct structure. It also created a knot neither of them fully understood. Tsunade placed the Hokage's hat on her head. How does it look? Expensive. She struck him hard enough to break the chair. Naruto rose from the wreckage with blood running from his nose. Tsunade pointed at him. First official order. Yes, Lady Fifth. Stop guaranteeing things while injured. Naruto considered objecting. The new contract warmed. He closed his mouth. Jiraiya laughed until Tsunade struck him too. Outside, evening settled across the town. Far away, Gaara slept beneath the protection of a temporary agreement renewed 1 week at a time. Shukaku had begun speaking to him rather than through him. Sasuke carried Orochimaru's curse mark and an anger no seal could remove. Hiruzen's first tablet rested beside the Hokage monument, its terms complete. And Naruto Uzumaki, more powerful than the leader he had chosen, returned to Konoha formally accountable to her. He believed that would prevent him from becoming a tyrant. He had not yet considered what would happen when the village trusted his guarantee more than her authority. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to leave a like for part 2.